Nigeria and jihadism. Whilst Jerusalem was in religious turmoil, the race was on to claim the souls of the people of Africa who didn't know anything about Christ or Muhammad. It wasn't until the Portuguese opened shipping routes around Africa to traders that Islam first arrived in Nigeria with the Arab traders. They wanted to create a commercial network with Nigeria. A pure faith through jihad was sought. But not to go too deeply into this, let's move on. Lugard first entered what we know now as Nigeria as a mercenary soldier working for Goldie, or the Royal Niger Company. He then later became the northern governor. In claiming the territory over northern Nigeria, they took control with a Maxim gun. They beheaded any leader who stood in their way. It's a shame I don't have PowerPoint because I actually have a picture of Lugard with all the heads of the emirs that stood in his way. He would cut off the heads and put in his own suitable emir, who they knew would agree with them to gain control over Hausa land. In the southern proctorates, the colonialism had been entirely different. It was set up differently. The coastal regions had been trading now for many years. Many of them had learnt the English language, the British ways and cultures. Christianity had arrived in southern Nigeria and was spreading into the hinterlands. Now you can see why they call the north and south oil and water. They cannot mix. As northern Nigeria was set up with military rule and southern Nigeria set up with civil rule. It was never going to work. It was united to balance the books. There was other factors. There was a world war looming. Lugard, by forced the proctorates into one. The Yoruba in Lagos had started to become very well educated whilst working with the British professionals and lawyers in the colony of Lagos. They started using media, setting up newspapers to voice their opinions, so much so it started to affect the British colonialism and Lugard's mission of one Nigeria. To prevent any united opposition to its authority, the British had adopted a divide and rule policy, keeping Nigerian groups separate from one another as much as possible. In 1859, Lugard reacted to the first newspapers in the land and the concern that Western education was corroding the grip on southern Nigeria that drove Lugard to resolve to insulate the North from the virus by declaring Western education for the native in northern Nigeria to be a sin. Western education is forbidden is the translation of Boko Haram. When you understand the creation of Nigeria, you know that it was built on death. It was created in conflict, born out of greed from the loss of slave moneys. Genocide is a polite word for the murders that started decades ago.
Hello? Are you hearing me?
Please, go on mute.
Okay.
No, you've muted Carol. Hold on. Unmute the speaker, please. Hold on, Carol.
Yep, I've done it, please. Okay, sorry. I think when somebody jumps in, it mutes you. Where was I? When I go back a little bit. When you understand the creation of Nigeria, you know that it was built on death. It was created in conflict, born out of greed from the loss of slave moneys. Genocide is a polite word, really, for the murders that started decades ago and will continue until Nigeria disintegrates fully. According to the global terrorist reports, Boko Haram now has killed over 27,000 civilians. They have killed more than ISIS has killed in Iraq and Syria. But combined, according to the global index, Nigeria is now the world's most dangerous country after Afghanistan and Iraq. More Christians have been targeted and slaughtered by extremists in Nigeria than in the entire Middle East. In September 2020, a non-partisan watch group called Genocide Watch declared a genocide emergency in Nigeria at extinction level. Between 2006 and 2014, more than 11,500 Christians have been killed. More than 1 million have been affected, with many driven away from their homes. and 13,000 churches have been destroyed or abandoned. In 2013, Awka, Anambra State, about 35 corpses of Biafran activists from the Maso group were found floating inside the Izu River. The police have been indicated in the deaths of these youths and the butchering of the victims. Although the autopsy reports have not been released to the public, sources have said from the autopsy reports that clear torture was involved. Kneecaps were blown off with shotguns, shoulders were shot away, and genitals were cut off. And I noted earlier, Dr. Justice spoke about that in the war also, but now it's happening again today. Excuse me. In August 2015 and in February 2016, IPOB protesters rallied in all the states of Biafra. In the states of Abia and Imo, most particularly, more than 80 protesters were killed that we know of. The figure of how many went missing is still unknown. There was over 400 arrests at the time, but because of fear and police cover-ups, we may never know how many really died. One witness, her details for legal reasons I won't say, spoke of how herself and her brothers were arrested at a rally. She was taken to the police station separately from her brothers, each person in a different vehicle. So her and her two brothers were all put into different vehicles. She was later released. Her brothers, however, have never been heard of since. She has sought police stations and morgues to no avail. She is now the only child left to care for her parents. 12th of September 2017, the Kanu Palace was attacked by the military. Many were killed and injured at the house. The family fled, but both Nnamdi Kanu's parents died later following from shock. As Biafrans fled to Umuahia to protect their leader, the army took this as a reason to pick up many youths in the area. Even from street workers, those that were making shoes, etc., they were still picked up. Many were arrested, and many went missing. Many of us have seen the youths that were tortured in the mud. They may have seen that a young man was dead in the mud and pushed aside. What you may not know is the young man was wearing Biafran colours on his shoes. He was told to remove his shoes. Another northern officer, overhearing this, he didn't speak to him. He just turned and shot the man in the head. The man was later buried by his young wife and two young daughters, who buried him singing "All Hail Biafra." His family still needs supporting. Up until now, we are still discovering unmarked graves of victims, many soaked in acid. The work to document these crimes is extremely difficult. Not only are the graves as much as the graves are destroyed, that if the army finds that you have found any evidence on it, they're very quick to attack. Today, as it stands, at least 15 Igbo youths are killed every day by security agents. In Rivers State, at the end of last year, Wyke ordered the hunt for IPOB members, resulting in the Obi-Igbo army massacre in Rivers State. Over 60 defenceless citizens, mostly Igbo Biafrans, were shot and killed by soldiers of the heavily Muslim-dominated Nigerian army. More than 100 were shot and suffered deadly injuries. Approximately 3,000 people disappeared in the area in River State. Just over 300 of which have so far been discovered in military facilities outside of River State, mostly in northern Nigeria. The IPOB legal team has sought the release of many, but still seek others in secret camps. Those arrested included pregnant women. The age ranges from teenagers to seniors in their 90s. Those released talk of the torture. They were afraid to eat for fear of poisoning, and they witnessed other male youths that died at the prison camps from torture. Media is blocked in Nigeria. Twitter is now banned in Nigeria. Most of the Biafran news now, the IP addresses are banned in Nigeria. The FG is paying billions to stop the news. social media now bans IPOB members daily. I'm currently on a ban for sharing the announcement of this seminar. Even as I hunt British history, we look for things and then they will suddenly disappear. I know that Delhi was talking about having access to files that were 100 years old regarding to the war. Even when they're over 100 years old, it's very difficult.
I wonder if there's a way the volume can be increased. My phone is at the maximum.
So we're hearing her loud and clear.
I will try to speak up, my sister. I will leave you now anyway, but let me leave you with the words of Reverend Jacob Gashua, an Anglican bishop that presided over many murdered Christian burials in the recent months. We have never seen an evil government in this country like the one today. The government is fully in support of the bloodshed in Nigeria. We are being killed just because we are not Muslim. These evil Fulani jihadists are enjoying the backing of the government to go about killing people, destroying their houses and farmlands. Yet when we try to defend ourselves, the government will go about arresting our people. What kind of justice is this? And I'll leave you with that. Thank you, Dr. Justice. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Carol. That's short, sharp, and to the point.
Thank you.
There's so much going on, it's difficult to encapsulate it. But what we've now proven is that before the war, there was ongoing killing. During the war, it was intensified. After the war, it's going. If it's not genocide, I don't know what, we have to redefine genocide. But we're going to be discussing this shortly. So the next speaker, so Carol, thank you very much for that research. I know there's so much work going on, and like they're digging up every bone in Guatemala and so on. One day, all this will be accounted for, and Biafra will come regardless. So we will come to the next topic, where it gives me great pleasure because the person who's talking to us now is one of those who actually went through the war. I was a child during the war, but he was one of the soldiers called the BOFF, B-O-F-F, which stands for Biafran Organization of Freedom Fighters. I witnessed them because where I'm from, they were the ones who helped in liberating Owerri, because they went behind the enemy lines and did all sorts of work to allow areas of Biafra to be liberated, some food to be delivered. So I'm not going to take up much of your time, but Professor Iwa Unuke is residing in Kansas at the moment in USA, and he's written so many books, and it's one of our veterans. It's a great privilege for him to talk to us, address us today, and he's also going to remind us about what it takes to be a nation from the United Nations point of view. Please locate Prof and let him come and talk to us. Thanks, Prof, for your time.
Thank you so much. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Or should I tune the volume?
Loud and clear, Prof.
Speak a bit louder if you can. Increase your volume.
Okay. I want to, first of all, thank the organizers of this conference. Most mornings when I wake up, I ask myself the question, why am I Mokunahirebe? I am from Abakaliki, so I hope you understand that dialect. Mokunahirebe. Why am I the lone chicken that survived the hawk? The hawk flies and grabs the chicken on the ground without any warnings. So it seems like most of the BOF members are dead. Why am I still here? That's a very tough question. So I have finally tried to figure out that it appears I'm here to illuminate the long-muted voices of our colleagues and our countrymen, Biafrans. I think that is my job, to illuminate the long-muted voices of the voiceless subaltern Biafran people. With this, can you just give me just 10 seconds and listen to this?
Go ahead.
Thank you so much for your patience. The man died. On July 3rd, 2020, our leader and founder of the Biafran Organization of Freedom Fighters, Colonel AGK Obuneme Aranya, was called to glory. Is there something making noise at the background?
Yes. IT people, please mute the person. Go ahead, Prof.
Good. So I said on July 3rd, 2020, our leader and founder of the Biafran Organization of Freedom Fighters, Colonel AGK Obuneme Aranya, was called to glory. Recall that in my presentation in London with Dr. Effiong in 2019, I had brought you a message from Colonel Aranya telling our people at home and abroad to stop eating meat, that the people who own the cattle we eat the meat from hate us. Ochaya Bof, in April of 2011, asked me to organize the remaining members that I can afford, we can find, to organize BOF into a formidable force for our victory, for our freedom. So, the man has died. The man died. And he has passed on the baton, which is why I'm thanking you for organizing this, because he stresses that we should pass on the baton of freedom to a new generation. Let me use this opportunity to recognize the founding pioneers of the Biafran Organization of Freedom Fighters, His Excellency General Ojukwu, Major General Alex Madiebo, Colonel AGK Aranya, Dr. Ukwu I. Okwu, Dr. Oyolu, Major George Okoye, and Ms. Veronica Nonye Emode. I use this chance also on behalf of BOF to ask the federal government to release Nnamdi Kanu. My speech is very brief, less than 7 minutes, so I go right ahead. Since mine is just vote of thanks, I've decided to brief you on what I consider to be the 5 HAUSA keys to unlock the closed doors of freedom. The 5 HAUSA keys to unlock the closed doors of freedom. So I begin with asking you to cheta na ogo Biafra bụ ogo eji ọfọ. Chetakwanụ that ogo Biafra is a just war. And there's a way in international relations that you fight just wars. You don't just use one method. What we need now is HAUSA and not Benama. HAUSA is the best strategic framework for our struggle now. My definition of HAUSA is diplomatic soldiery. High intellect to put up plans, strategic plans, to create many sectors in fighting the war, not just IPOB. So it's a war of common sense and intellectual war. The third key is HAUSA. Now, Biafra is already a recognized country. It seems like sometimes we are confused as to what the status of Biafra is. In international law, Biafra is a country. What we lack is the political will and courage to embark on the second emancipation of Biafra. I don't know, some people talk about plebiscite, some people talk about referendum, some people talk of recognition. So we can see we don't seem to have a true conceptual framework of what we are fighting for. The fourth key is HAUSA buffs 10 cardinal freedoms. I got my PhD from Howard University and used the Library of Congress for research on Biafra and used the Spingarn Library at Howard to do research on Biafra. I teach international relations, political science, American government. And I have seen that the American freedom basically rests on freedom of speech, freedom from want, and two more or so. But Biafran freedom, or both what the freedoms we are fighting for, I don't think we are aware of the true freedom we are fighting for. So because time is running short, we're aging, I need to emphatically state that Ochaya Boff had written in his book the 10 freedoms that we pursue, which I want to pass along to you. So HAUSA, the freedoms we are fighting include freedom from hunger, freedom from disease, freedom from oppression, freedom from nepotism, freedom from bribery and corruption, freedom from dictatorship, freedom from economic and technological slavery, freedom to survive as an individual, and freedom to survive as a nation. That's the fourth key to unlocking the closed doors of freedom. which we fight for. It's good for all of us to be on the same page, for all of us to understand that the freedom we're asking for is not the American freedom version of freedom or the Britain or the British. It is a very unique type of freedom which bring out the virtuous culture of Ndi and Ndi Biafra. The last thing is to share, the last and the fifth one is, it seems that we should by now diversify our strategy in fighting for our freedom. Not fighting for our freedom, in regaining our freedom. In view of this, both, on behalf of both and both veterans, I have written an amicus curiae. Amicus curiae, thank God Dele did a wonderful job, Dele Ogun, as a lawyer. You will understand what is amicus curiae. Most of you will understand. Amicus curiae is trying to be objective in presenting a case against Nigeria, trying to present the two sides and appealing to the United Nations as a friend. You know, like we have done research and we are assisting the United Nations in giving the UN such information that will help it in recognizing Biafra. In this respect, I reminded the United Nations General Assembly and the UN Secretary General that on May 29, 1969, a student of Columbia University in New York called Bruce Mayrock set himself on fire, or what you call self-immolation. At the United Nations headquarters, and on 30th May of 1969, which is Biafran Day, our friend and brother, the Jewish American Bruce Mayrock, died. He died on the 2nd anniversary of independence. We want to remind the United Nations in my letter that according to the Montenegro Convention, for a country to be recognized as a sovereign nation state in law, that country must have 4 elements. The country must have population, because Biafra has more than 40 million people. The entity, political entity, must have a government. Well, can I show you that then, from 1967 to 1970, Biafra had population, government, territory, and capacity to enter into treaty agreement with any nation. And even till now, Biafra has population, or don't we have population? Biafra has a government. Our government is the IPOB in exile, led by Nnamdi Kanu. We have a geographical territory, and we have the capacity to enter into treaty agreement with any nation that accepts us. In other words, Biafra is a de facto nation. And what about de facto nations? The United States, between 1776 and 1778, was a de facto nation. When it declared its independence on July 4th, 1776, It was not immediately recognized by other nations. So it stayed up to 2 years before recognition. Not only that, Netherlands, Switzerland, Japan, and Turkey were de facto nations. They operated on their own. It doesn't mean we have been, that leads me to state that Gabon, Ivory Coast, Haiti, and Tanzania and Zambia recognized Biafra officially. The Charter of the United Nations does not state that XYZ number of countries must have to ratify or recognize a political entity before it becomes a state. There's no such thing. So recognition is recognition. France, Spain, Norway, and the Vatican State are among the 12 countries that recognize Biafra. You have various forms of recognition. Could be by support, could be by direct statement or diplomatic sharing. Well, I have PhD in international relations, and I consider myself an authority in international law and international relations. So I affirm as an authority that one, recognition once granted is irrevocable. Let me repeat. I'm speaking as an expert. The law courts can invite me as a source, dependable source, to advise the court about this situation. And I'm telling my people that recognition of a country once granted is irrevocable. Therefore, the rule of guns cannot be allowed to replace the rule of law or the rule of international law. The law is very clear. Articles 2.4 of the United Nations Charter states that member countries shall refrain from using the threat or use of force against an independent state. So for Nigeria to use force and threat and to conquer an independent state for over 50 years, 5 decades, is unthinkable. So I want to conclude by saying that it's time we use HAUSA to continue the struggle. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Prof, God bless you.
God bless you, Prof.
Always a pleasure to see you, Prof. Thank you. We're going to quickly move on because we're going to take some questions after the last speaker. Prof, please extend our special warm welcome to Professor Pam when you see her today. So, I'm sure she's with us in spirit. Thank you. Okay, so the last speaker,
Professor Pam says that she would have loved to show all of you how we have gone with the millions of the project we have in the village in Nigeria, which she sponsors.
Yes.
We have built the house is standing up with 5% completed the 23-room college.
Wow, that's amazing.
Nigeria. So she wants to inform all of you that because she said so in London when we were there 2 years ago.
Thank her for us. We should keep in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Right, we now have our last speaker, Lola Sophia Chinedu, to tell us about the role of women in Biafra struggle. I don't even know where to begin. So much women have helped us. From going to the battle itself, I remember a story about one Biafran soldier in the Owerri sector. More like psychological ops. Every morning she wakes up and goes and tells the Nigerian soldiers off in the heat of the battle. And of course they played some prominent roles during the war. But let Chinedu tell us from the beginning about the Biafran. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Please, everybody, mute. Let's mute.
Please, you can unmute yourself.
Good evening, everyone. I think Dr. Okati has already introduced me. So I will just take my picture away because I need to read for you. So it is not on my screen of my phone, so I have to use my computer because I am on my phone, so I cannot be on the pictures of the phone. But you can hear my voice. I will read for you about the role that women play in IPOB. So I will remove my picture so then you can listen to me, because otherwise I have to take my head every time in the air to read. So just bear with me. What did you know about the Aba riot? The 1929 Hebrew Women's War, referred to as Ogu Umu Wane in Hebrew, or the Aba Women's Riot by the British colonial authority in Biafra land, was one of the most significant protest movements in the former British Empire. The protest was organized and led by rural women, and once the war started, it spread like wildfire in southeastern Nigeria, which is Biafra land, among the Hebrew and Ibibio of Owerri in Calabar provinces, covering a total area of over 15,550 square kilometers, about 6,000 square miles, and involving a population of 2 million people. I'm going to give you a historical background. This is historical that I'm telling you about. By the mid-19th century, formal British policy in what later became Nigeria was designed to protect British interests in the expanding trade activity in the Nigerian hinterland. By 1861, British administration was formally established in the colony of Lagos and the Niger Delta region. Through a series of treaties and military expeditions designed to end internal slavery and facilitate trade in such commodities as palm oil and kernel, palm produce, present day, Nigeria came under effective British control by the beginning of the 20th century. The women's protest arose in the palm oil belt of Biafra land. The Hebrew and Ibibio lived largely in mini states where men and women exercised varying degrees of political power. Meetings of the village council involved adult males and were held in the common cultural center and the abode of the community's earth goddess. Important laws of the village council were ritualized with the earth goddess and given a sacerdotal sanction. Their violation was seen as an act of sacrilege that needed ritual purification to restore the moral equilibrium of the society and save humans from infertility, famine, and other calamities. women had their own socio-political organization. They held weekly meetings on the market day of their community and made and enforced laws that were of common interest to them. But British colonialism brought fundamental changes that eliminated women's political roles in pre-colonial Igbo and Ibibio societies. Women, however, saw themselves as the moral guardians and defenders of the taboos of the earth goddess, believing that they naturally embodied its productive forces. The cosmology of the woman and the moral outrage they express over the intense economic and social changes that occurred during colonialism are helpful in understanding not only the roots of the Hebrew women's war, but the unusual solidarity and friendship the women displayed during the crisis. The initial protest was sparked off in Oloko, in Benda, division of Owerri province, where in 1926 the colonial government had counted the number of men without indicating that the figures would be used in taxing them in 1928. Thus, when on November 18, 1929, the British appointed Warrant Chief Okugo asked a teacher to count his people in keeping with the directive of the British district officer, women who feared that they would be taxed began to protest against the census. The women dispatched palm fronds to other women in Bendi division, summoning them to Oloko. The meaning of the palm fronds vary according to circumstances. But in this case, palm fronds signified a call to an emergency meeting, and people were forbidden to harm those who bore the fronds. Within a short period, thousands of them had assembled in the compound of Okugo. Sitting on him, Warrant Chief Okugo, a traditional practice involving chanting war songs and dancing around the man, making life miserable for him until the women's demands were met, and demanding his resignation and imprisonment for allegedly assaulting some of them. So I'm just going to stop here. As we all know, I'm gonna talk a little bit of the women, and I'm gonna ask Chichi just to share the screen of the pictures of the war, and I'm going to ask our Dr. Okachi to help to explain the pictures, and then I will now go back to IPOB women's role. Doctor can just help me with the explanation, please, of the pictures.
Okay, no problem. So if you look at the top picture, these are the women who actually led the protest. They're very, very famous. We should be naming roads, hospitals, schools after them. But we will establish the victory. When Biafra comes, we establish and we invigorate the role they played. It's incredible because the catchphrase is that here, meaning in Biafra land, men don't speak for us. So men, please take care and take note. You don't go around speaking for women. They're quite tough. Don't mess around. Okay, but they were a bulk. They actually helped us to fight the British because men let them down. They took charge. The bottom left is, you see the women, immediately when the war, Biafra was being declared, the women went to join the army. They've been tormented, raped, killed in the north. Women had their tummy, carrying babies eviscerated. So you see these young ladies in the top left-hand corner joining the army. They want to fight. So the rest of the pictures, again, to do with, so the bottom left is around 1966, 67. The rest are 1929 pictures about women And the interesting thing which Sophia mentioned is that palm Freud, palm leaf was used to like text messages. Once you carry one of those and go to a village or go to a market, the information you're carrying is sacred and is spread. So I wonder if they had text messages, what they would do with it. But just by the by. Carry on, please. Next picture.
Okay, our women have suffered, really, really suffered. And I think that is what actually encouraged us as IPOB women in abroad, or shall we say in diaspora, to also come out to do things significant. I think we as women, we play a very vital role in our societies, role in our communities. Because if we, the woman, is not going to speak about what is happening with us and our woman back home, our woman has been raped, we have heard so many evil things. I think I'm so emotional because of what has happened to our speakers who speak before me, who have speak so much and equip us with so much knowledge. And I think the pain to go back and think of what happened with our generation is very, very painful. Because what we can do as women, we can do a lot as women. We can make changes. I think in Ireland, there was a group of women who was married to foreigner men. I think men from all over different countries, especially Nigerians. And this woman, the husbands was all deported because they didn't have papers. And you know what that woman do in Ireland? They didn't sit still, they didn't go to sleep, they go to the government and they were there at the parliament's house. They have sleep there night and day. And then, because the woman was there, as me and you know, when something happened with women, especially here in the UK, the government have to do something. So this woman was drastically, they were angry because they said that children cannot grow up without fathers. And our mothers back home cannot live without their husbands. And children cannot stay without their fathers. So this woman, the government has now bring their husbands back to the UK because they have let the government know it is unacceptable. So what are we doing? What are we doing in IPOB as women? Listen, this is what IPOB women stands for, and this is what we do. I'm going to go back to my reading, so I will disappear. IPOB woman is the cornerstone that the foundation of IPOB was laid on. We, the women, has come out in mass to support the Biafra movement. We did take the lead when our men needed us to assist financially, emotionally, and physically. During my time in IPOB, there was women that carries the struggle on their head. Some has already died, some has betrayed our leader in the struggle, and some have made the struggle what it is until date. When our leader and those who has left the restoration started here in the UK, they started with our own Lolo, Chidima, Carol Mande, who was speaking. She was there way before there was even a woman in IPOB. She was there with our leader, who was standing with our leader and is there until date. I was honored to meet our leader in person in 2014 when he came to broadcast in Manchester. Then I can talk about these three amazing women. Our Lolo, that I have already talked about, Chidima, Lolo Chuoma, Okerike, Lady Chinere, Ihuba, who plays a vital, important role in the struggle. This is the women that I met when I come to IPOB. I only met a few women. There was not much women who participate in IPOB the time when IPOB started. I started in 2012 with IPOB when our leaders started broadcasting. That is when I joined the struggle. So I just want to take off my head to these amazing women. But among the three, there was this particular peculiar one who is our own. I cannot forget her and I will never forget her. Our own late Sister Waka Waka Chimobi. Her role was the most important in the struggle. She has been immensely in every area of her job role. I can tell you about the time when our leader was incarceration, how she stood her ground fearlessly, and time without number. She never ever think about herself. She stand up against those that have tried to betray the restoration and make sure that she stand up for the truth and justice and give us an accurate account of all the activities in Biafra land. She was poisoned by one of our own, only because she never compromised. She come on air and blasted everyone and calls a spade a spade. She was the drive behind our success in Biafra land. And incorruptible, she was incorruptible. No one could bribe her or lies against her. She was one in a million. And we need to give her the honor that she is due. And we, the IPOB women worldwide, will always remember you, Sister Chimobi. Then we have our comrades, the Aweri woman, the Aweri IPOB woman from Imo State, who come out in mass and take off their clothes. Our IPOB woman always appears in court when our leader appears in court. And this woman was so formidable. Whenever they come out, our leader go to court, they come out. And this woman, they been, how can I say, they've been picked up by this terrorist Nigerian police or army and been locked up. And we know that our woman has gone through so much pain. And I can go on. So what I wanted to say, we know about what has happened with our woman. A lot of things has happened with our woman that was been picked up. It was painful. I think for me to see women going through this mistreatment, you know, our leader have broadcast about this woman that was been picked up. There was students that was been picked up and terrible things. It's so painful to even mention it. But I can mention it. They were raped. Their clothes was been torn. Their clothes was been taken off from them. Their underwear was been taken off from them. They have been there for, I think, weeks and weeks and without changing. And the terrorist army have just taken them like they are women to be sleep with every night. I don't even want to use that word because our woman is not that. So I cannot call that word. So I had to say they were forced. I had to say they were forced into something against their will. So what are we going to do, women? We need to do something. We need to stand up as women. We need to help our mothers back home. We need to come up with strategies as women. We cannot continue and let the evil go on. Let the terrorist government rape our women all over Biafra land. This must stop. This cannot continue. It is injustice. And I don't agree with it because you won't agree with it because you have seen our woman has recently come out. IPO woman, the African woman from the USA, they have come to the UK. So to come and tell the UK government has to answer a lot of things because of what they have done to our woman. The things that they have done with our woman, the dirty things, it is unacceptable. I don't think this kind of things can be accepted anywhere in the world. If it was here in the UK, those men were UK, those men would have been to book. They would have been in prison by now. Because here in the UK, if something happens to a woman, you cannot tell a woman anything. I think Rabbi Charles is here amongst us. Yeah, I've listened to him talking about what happened, what women do. That he was saying that when a man, he didn't even do anything to the woman, but the woman knows the woman is a criminal. She has done something bad with criminality. Then when the man now come to confront her, she will just come up and say, are you threatening me? Or she will go to the law and say that I am scared for this man. This man is threatening me. And this is what happened. So we as women, we have actually so much authority. as women, we can stand up and we can do something different. I see there's a lot of women in attending us program tonight, and I would plead with all of you, my sisters. You are mothers, you are sisters, and it is your brothers. It is our children back home. It is our brothers, it is our cousins, and they've been dying, they've been killed, brutalized. And I think enough is enough. We have to come out. We have to do a change. When we call on the woman, please come out to do a change. Let us to do a change. Let us make the difference in the UK. Let us tell the UK government we don't accept this. This that is happening back home with our women being locked up, been putting into prison for a just cause. They are going out there to protest just like me and you. We protest all over Europe, all over the world. We have freedom, but our mothers, they don't have freedom back home. So what are we going to do as mothers? What are we going to do? We have to make a change. We have to join this restoration. It is our nation. It is our people, and it is our time as mothers. Our leader have said, when the women come out, then Biafra is here. So now the woman has come out all over the world, but we need more. We need more support. We need more women to come and help us in this fight. I don't want to take time because I can talk a lot about women, but I am not going to go further. I just want you to know our people is suffering, especially our mothers, and we need to do something. We need to write. That is what we all have already done. We have done petitions. We have we have go to MPs. But I think we need to continue. We don't need to give up. My sisters and everyone else here, I thank you for your time. And I salute all of our speakers. I don't know, without you, I think we couldn't, I couldn't even start talking because I was equipped and I was bold. And I'm feeling still so emotional, and I don't even know what to do. If I did have the power, then I would have really do something amazing, because I think we need to do something. We need to help our women, because I can talk about the women in Kurdistan. I think when the ISIS go to Kurdistan to start killing them, you know what? The woman said, no, wait, we cannot. When our man is gone, we are unprotected. And then the ISIS come there and they kill them. And the woman said, no way. They are standing up and they take arms. And the woman form an army, a woman army in Kurdistan. And once they form that army, I want to tell you, the woman protect that land, because Muslims, especially men, they don't want to be killed by women. If you don't know the secret, I'm telling you now, any Muslim man don't want to be killed by a woman. It is haram in their culture. It is haram. So if IPOB and the African women stand up and we form our own army, please, we need to form it. And then those men, Fulani terrorists, will run away, because they know it is haram if a woman is taking up arms and shoot them, because it is the greatest achievement that we in IPOB will do. The Kurdish women is doing it. They are still there. They are protecting the land along the men, and what is actually forbidding us of doing it. That is it for me tonight. I just want to say thank you very much, and may Chukwuo Pike Abiyama bless each and everyone. And from my side, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Doctor. Good night.
Sophie, thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
That's how we round off for today. And I thank everybody for being patient and listening attentively. And I think if you were sleeping, now you've been woken up by Sophia, you're in trouble. So I'm definitely going to form this women army. And I don't want to fight that myself. Okay, so, it's time for question time. I cannot seriously thank enough all the speakers today. And I don't want to start wasting time summarizing because everybody have gained, I've learned so much. The standard is exceptionally high. And let's fire up some questions now. It's time for people, those who have raised their hands. We're now going to the section of question and answer. I think somebody should relieve me. I don't want to talk too much. I just want someone to line up those who put their hands up and let's ask some questions. And then they'll fire up. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll start with the first person that I can see on my screen, the first one up, and that's Ima Nze.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody. My unalloyed support, my unalloyed respect for everybody that has spoken this night. Everybody that's put this in together, I appreciate that. I thank you very much. This is the kind of thematic lecture that we pay 25,000 for master degree. I'm getting it free. And I have also been given something that I didn't know before by our brother Dele. And I thank you very much. But I am saying, Dr. Okachi, the best way forward for us is for you to open this project for as many people that will be interested in taking this gospel to our people, be in our meetings, be in organizations. It shouldn't be left for only the Biafra Awareness Education Day. Let us get in and see how we can propagate this and create this needed awareness. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Zema. Doctor, you want to respond?
Not yet. Carry on. You just want more people. I'm grateful for that, sir. Yes.
Thank you. Can we have Mazi Ima Mok? I'm sorry if I didn't get that. Mok. Mazi Ima Mok.
Good evening, everyone. I feel very blessed to have been a part of this event. It's been a very high quality meeting. What I'd like to ask is, in the light of the present situation where it seems that state actors are creating chaos and blaming IPOB, I know one of the speakers had said that our people in the diaspora actually have more freedom to act, and so should be louder. How do we in the country help so that our people in the diaspora can better present this proper picture? Because like someone said, one of the speakers said, the state is spending so much money, billions of money, in helping create a false narrative that the Igbos are armed and are fighting and that IPOB is a terrorist organization, which is not true. We need to pass the fact information out that these people creating these killings and all of that in the state, even though they are not wearing military uniform, we believe are sponsored and protected by state actors. That's why crimes are not being investigated. Actors come, create mayhem, and get away with it, in spite of the fact that every street is blocked by different military checkpoints. Yet these people are able to arrive at different destinations, commit havoc, and go. How can this matter be dealt with? That's my question.
Okay, Mazi, do you have somebody, the question, if you're asking the question directed, mention the name of the speaker, or you want any of the speakers to tackle it?
Any of the speakers. I'm not asking any particular person. I'm looking at it that everybody talking here is an interested party in helping achieve justice and the possibility of the full establishment of the state, of the new state of Biafra. Okay. So I'm asking everybody here, how do we go about this? Because many of us here within the confines of Nigeria are very sad at the fact that there's so much killing of innocent youth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me come in quickly. The first question, someone asked the need. What is it? If there's any way we can propagate this, which is good, it's all about knowledge and spreading the knowledge. The more people This is the only panel we had today. There's so many people out there. I've not even mentioned people who have personal experience. We certainly need to expand the knowledge base, particularly we're only talking about the war itself. What about the humanitarians, those who helped us do the war? And it mentioned that their recognition has not been withdrawn. We need to reach them, go back to them and say, this is where we are still. So there's so much to do. We're going to continue trying to develop along this line of information dissemination. Maybe the bead, we have to remove the day from the B, B-E-A-D. Biafra Education Awareness Day has to be Biafra Education dissemination rather than day. So we're working on that. Coming back to why are we called terrorists? Well, the Nigerians would like us to become terrorists, just as they called us rebels during the war to justify Biafra. And everything BBC said was, oh, the Biafran rebels, the Biafran rebels, Biafran rebels. Who is rebelling against who? Yeah, that was the question. So we tried so hard to enlighten the world that we're not rebels, we're trying to free ourselves. But that didn't wash because they made sure we're called rebels. Now they tried again to label IPOB as secessionists, separatists, and also, in fact, calling us terrorists. But the whole world have seen, because of the media, because of the BBC in those days hold sway. They had so much power in the media to block any talk about Biafra. But this day and age, we can upload, send information, say, we are IPOB, we don't carry arms. How can you call us terrorists? So the good news so far is that in spite of the billions they're pumping in to bribe people, IPOB has not been labeled terrorist organization outside Nigeria. They've prescribed us, and we'll come back to another day to talk about the prescription, and there's really the prescription. But the fact they have not done it, and people are getting asylum by being IPOB, means they're not terrorists from the outside world. So that is good news. But we have to step up the gear, as one of our veterans has told us. We need to really use every single channel that's available to us, being education, conversing, telling MPs, telling anyone, celebrities, we are not terrorists. We are being killed. You can't just stand still and kill. It's a crime against humanity, crime against God. We need to scream a bit louder than we have so far. So I just want to keep quiet and let other people talk as well concerning what we heard so far.
Can I just add to what you said, Doctor?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
You know, I think we should remember that Nelson Mandela was categorized as a terrorist. You know, even though America claims to be celebrating Martin Luther King was thrown into jail approximately 29 times. So these are patterns that will continue. You know, they will try to demonize you. I'm glad you mentioned rebel. Look at the government that wasn't voted into power and came in by way of a rebellion, calling us rebels. Mm-hmm. You know, when you talk about terrorist acts, look at the magnitude of destruction by the Fulani terrorists or by Boko Haram. You know, education is key, like you've mentioned, Doctor, but we need to take advantage of the technology that's available to us and continue to disseminate information and remind people that whenever you hear anything, verify the information. And don't forget that states have typically used judicial systems and propaganda to lie against people who've risen up to advocate justice. It was done, like I said, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and that's what they're doing to these young people. That's what they're doing to these young people. Why would young people who know that they're very vulnerable now, you know, resort to terrorist acts when they know they don't stand a chance? You know, so it's important for us to continue to use technology to disseminate information and to also establish the truth. And encourage people, listen, get the truth before you start sending out these viral messages on WhatsApp or Twitter, wherever. You know, we know that there are bigots who hate us. You know, we know that there are bigots who hate us who continue to do that. But we also know that there are people who are level-headed thinking people and who are balanced in how they view do things, and we can at least win those ones over when we continue to explore and exploit the technology and the facts that are available to us. But we need to connect more. I agree with the point that was made. Every one of us, wherever we are, in Greece, in London, in Nigeria, the United States, we are a force to contend with, but we need to come together some more. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Can I raise my voice too?
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much, Doc. I really want to appreciate all the speakers. I want to appreciate everyone who have participated in this meeting. And I really want to say I'm really very proud to be associated with this, and I really want to also continue to associate with this moving forward. In adding to what the last speaker has said, I think we also need to look at the elites, the Biafran elites or Igbo elites in the midst of any meaningful development that has ever happened in our place. They are facilitating and aiding all this orthodoxy of repression, subjugation, and all the propaganda that Fulani-led Northern oligarchy is really doing to annihilate our people. I think we need to find better strategies to engage our elites, those who seem to see themselves as elites in Biafra land, particularly in Igbo land. There are particular problems to the struggle. I think we need to really do something to engage them more, in a way that they will understand that it's not just about the struggle, it's also about quest for identity, and also to make sure that we bequeath a more to bequeath a very sophisticated nation to our children and our unborn generation. So I'm happy with what is happening, but I'm also looking at what is the possibility of having a conference, a 2-3 day conference, where we're going to have a lot of exhibitions, and we're going to be bringing on technocrats from different fields of endeavor to actually engage, have plenary sessions, because this is really, like you said, information dissemination that will actually empower a lot of us, and even people who are coming behind, to actually appreciate the identity that is called Biafra and what it portends moving forward. So really a lot has to continue to be done, and let us also continue to engage in a way that more people will get involved, and also people, our brothers from the coastal region, like Prof. Effiong have said, really the interconnectivity that is happening with the younger generation is really coming up. We need to encourage that, and we need to sustain it and improve on it. So I think that will be my few points for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You did tell us your name.
It's Dr. Martin speaking from SA.
From SA?
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll talk later.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're blessed. Anyone else, quickly?
Yes, can we have Nick A52? Nick's phone, I think, A52. Could you unmute yourself and ask your question, please?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Go ahead.
Yeah. Many thanks to Dr. Okachi and other speakers, including Effiong and my coordinator, Lolo Sophia. I really appreciate what has been going on so far. The discussion has been amazing and very, very encouraging. So, sorry I was with laptop before. I even left too late because of work, because of going to work. Am I coming up clearly?
Go ahead, get to the point.
Okay, so please, my question is this. Dr. Karachi will be seen in London on the 10th of the next month for the next protest. I hope you will be there.
We'll try.
Having said that, my question is this. For those of us who are in this platform right now, I just want to pass a message. I know most of us here don't go to protest. Protest is a weapon towards this kind of situation the Biafran people find themselves for decades. So for most of us who sit in their comfort room, please try as much as you can. The closest local government, the county in your area, attend to a protest, carry your placard, let our voices be heard. We should tell our stories because people have been telling our stories for years. Now that we begin to speak up, let us keep it up. Do not watch on television while others travel miles and miles and miles to go and protest. Biafra cannot just fall from heaven. It should fall from our efforts and contributions, especially those of us in the diaspora. What we need to do is protest and communicate all those your congresses, wherever you live. They can be able to respond and attend to our problem, even if we are having our own destiny in our own hands. Having said that, I want to ask, please, how is it possible that we can be able to have a date for different towns in Biafra land where genocide took place? Because on your presentation, Dr. Okachi, I remember about 8,000 or thereabout that were killed in Warri and Sapele, where you made your presentation, something like that. These people, are they celebrated? Is there a way we can make celebration, remembrance, go every nook and cranny of Biafra land, just like the way we do it in HAUSA of today. Thank you, and do have a good day. God bless you all.
You're blessed. Go ahead. Somebody, more questions. I could quickly answer that while we're getting somebody else. The need to do memorial in every town because there's no family. Because when you look at the genocide, 3.5, at least 3.1 to 3.5 died is known, but the actual figure, even after the war, more people died because of starvation, deliberate policy. Up to about 5 million people. There's no village that wasn't touched by the war. And as you know, the Poppy Day is coming in UK. 11th of the 11th, they celebrate every single year. It's amazing that in Biafra land, we didn't have a single monument to memorialize those who have died. Nnamdi Kanu built something, a cenotaph, and then they went and vandalized it because they're not ready for IPAP and ideas. And we do 30th of May, people go to start 30th of May, you go first thing in the morning around 4 or 5 o'clock and attack them and kill them. I don't know what sort of mentality we have, but this memorialization is needed. You just have to go to Israel. Someone mentioned Yad Vashem, and you understand how people take life seriously. We ourselves need to know that our people are precious. And if we don't value them, then it's very, very difficult. Our culture is totally alien to having lives wasted like that. After all, a human being in Igbo language, I know Igbo is one of the Biafran languages, it's called Mma Ndu, which is like the beauty of life, the pinnacle of creation. So we valued life, but we're being wasted needlessly. So we need to reverse that trend. Thank you. Somebody else, please.
Thank you, Dr. Justice. Can we have Mazi Fanichukwu, please? Mazi Fanichukwu, unmute yourself and ask your question. No, you have to unmute yourself, Mazi. You're muted. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Good evening, everybody, and I say thank you for every of our hosts. Our guest, Dr. Effiong, and our both veteran, just forgotten his name, and Dr. Okachi Ogweribem. I salute you. Please, this is more directed to Dr. Okachi, because we have had this bid the previous time and this one now, and I hope subsequently we'll be having them. So my question to Dr. Okachi, Mr. Okachi, as he lectured me one time, he told me it's better Mr. than the other way around. Can we have like is it YouTube, or is it in a website where these things are recorded that our people can go every time and follow it? Because we need to create what we call collective national memory and consciousness. Because this is why the Jews are different from every other tribe on earth. Their travail, their plight their sufferings are part of their identity. So if language and religion cannot gather us bind us like it binds Jews, let our plight in Nigeria and our sufferance, collective sufferance from all the people from all this eastern region, let it be in a database where we can direct our people, where ourselves, like myself, I learned a lot. I thought I knew anything about Nigeria, Biafra genocide, but I learned a lot more tonight. So what I'm saying, where people can go or where we can direct our people and the lovers of freedom to go and take a look. We are not making it up. It's happened to us. I lived it. Thank God I'm here today. Thank God Dr. Kachi is here today and doing the work he's doing. But we need that digital database like YouTube or a website we can direct people. Thank you. That's my question. Thank you, my brothers and sisters. Good night.
Thank you. As the question is specifically directed to me, I'm sure other people can add. Ifeanyi, it's nice to see you again. Long time no see.
Thank you, sir. I'm at attention.
nice to see you once more. Okay, you're right. What's the best thing? The suffering is the currency, isn't it? We've been through it. That suffering is going to have a way out. The annoying thing, though, it's not annoying. It's a personal. I mean, it's an individual thing. Some people don't want to talk about Biafra at all. Remember? Yeah. They just don't want to hear about it. When you hear Biafra, they say, "Hey, the suffering we went through. Hey, the suffering." They don't want to. They don't want to share that. They want to die with it rather than share it with their children. So there are one extreme, those who feel there's a need to talk about it and get it off the chest. And there's the other side, say, if I talk about it, it just brings it all back. But the Jews have documented, videotaping, recording the extreme suffering of those who went to concentration camp. As a school child, as a school person, I went to Belsen. Yeah, it's just one of the concentration camps. When you go through one of places like that, you understand why the Jews are the way they are. They say never again, and they mean it. If Biafrans come to the same understanding, so never again, but you've got to amass the evidence, the knowledge. It doesn't matter people don't want to talk about it. Those who want to talk about it, you video them, you store it, you record it, you have an archive of what actually went down. Okay, if you go to just the northern pogrom before the war, when you record it, it's actually so accurate because they got a judge commission to go and record what people went through. That is so accurate because the judge will commission, Judge UK, I've forgotten his name, but they actually sat from in Port Harcourt, they went to Abad, they went to Wele, sitting down and listening to people who returned. Okay, it's all been documented. So we have answers for what happened to our people, but nobody reads. Yeah, nobody wants to read it. Right? So we need to somehow, as you're right, put it in the website where people can say, yes, Mr. So-and-so ran away from Kanu. This is what happened to him when he got back. Did he actually survive the war? Did anyone know? Nobody follows that. So there was a disconnect immediately after the war. Everybody disappeared. But there's a track from those who ran from Sokoto back home. Those who survived, they tell you their story. So I think we need to, you touch an important message. We probably should begin to document. I think Prof. Effiong, I think you're involved in trying to document some of this, or maybe I'm talking out of turn. There's a plan now to begin to document the experience of people who went through, so that people can then go on the website, it is uploaded, to actually listen to what happened. Otherwise, we lose them when these people are no longer with us. They're very important message. So Prof. Effiong, I don't know if you want to, I think something in your website you talk about documents.
Yeah, we're in the process. We started something at Michigan State University. You know, this whole COVID thing has slowed us down, but we're going to pick up. And basically, this is to get an audio and visual recording from people who went through the experience. We want to hear them. In addition, there is a young lady, a journalist who had been affiliated with CNN, Chika Odua, who is also working also documenting narratives, and I've actually worked with her a little bit on documenting mine. So we're moving forward. I think the suggestion here is that we can even do a greater job. And so let's galvanize our ideas. There's some people that are more knowledgeable in this field or who have connections, but we can do it. You know, if Nigeria can do it, you know, if Nigerians can do Nigeria movies, we can also do documentaries, you know, which are related. But yeah, it's happening. It's just that we can pick up and we can do more.
I just have something to add to this as well. And this is more or less a very practical way of starting it. I believe in starting small. I believe in baby steps as well. I had a very long chat with my elder brother on this particular issue. That was on May 31st. And we are trying to also develop a pro forma. Just within our small community. We can start with that as individuals. It's all about walking from this man's house to another. Take down, did you lose anybody in the war? How many people? Yes. Take down their names. How old were they? Can you remember how they died? You know, just have notebooks and do it that way. We have people at home we can speak to. I mean, even if it starts with one particular family, one compound, one hamlet, as we have 101 of us at the moment, if we can begin to do that and speak to others to do that, we will be very, very shocked at the amount of information we'll get. And it's so common that almost every family lost one person during the Biafran genocide. So it's not a venture that people are going to look for things to do. So I think I'll suggest on our own as individuals, not just waiting for government or for associations. If we can start it, then maybe this organization can help galvanize and collect or follow people up and collect all the data so that we can put them all out there. Because the Jews were able to do this on their own, and they even went into buildings that people ran away to see whether they can see any passport, anything whatsoever, anything linking anybody to anywhere. And they were able to collect as many as possible. So I think it's a good start for us. Very simple start. It doesn't cost anything, just a notebook and somebody who might be willing to, even if it's one family, 1 week. Honestly, we'll be able to achieve so much. Thank you.
And before I forget, sorry about that. What you said is incredible from the Jews' point of view. About a secretary who was in the office where they did the genocide. That secretary is about nearly 90 years old or so. They're after her because they know that she was involved. She didn't pull the figure. She will happen to be a secretary who types the names, but they're still after her because of the accuracy of their recording. So it's very, very important. Okay, thank you for that. Next person.
Yeah, can I join into that? And that's the fact that we have Justice. He said it earlier on. How do we breach that? How do we cross that hurdle? When you have a lot of people that have this fear and they would rather not talk about it. Yeah, there are some people that are still bold, maybe those in diaspora that are ready to talk about what the experience of Biafra. But there are lots of people back home from Biafra lands to the north, to the south, to the west that experience the war, that even fought in the war, and they're not ready to talk about it because there's this fear. So they've created this wall in front of them, and they're not ready to cross that bridge. And some of them actually they die with their story. How do we break that wall? How do we cross that bridge when we get to it? The teacher said from house to house. How do you make them talk if they just don't want to talk out of fear? Not that they don't have a story to tell.
The truth about this is, in our communities, if I should just take mine now, at least my brother visits home quite often. And why it's easier for us to do it ourselves is that these are your people. These are people that know you. Tell them it's not about government. It's not about this. It's not even for us to use it to plan any reprisal attack. For me, it's an honor to the dead. Because it hurts me that these people are pushed in as nameless, faceless people, nothing at all. These are not unknown soldiers. These are people's fathers, mothers, children, and the rest of them. So if we can do it on our own, start with our families. If I want to have a discussion with my mother, or with my uncles about the Biafran war, they're not going to suspect me of maybe trying to get any information. So when we have people who are close by start this, it's going to break that boundary. It's going to remove that suspicion, and people who naturally would not open up about the war, and also tell them the essence of doing this is to just make sure that we document and honor these people that have died. Just know what happened to who and where and when. So if we're able to get this, start little, spread people out. If we can get groups, if we can go to youth organizations, you talk to your family, you talk to your family, you talk to your extended family and things like that. We'll be able to collect all these. So mine, by December, I'm going to involve my community youth in a large scale to see how we can break people down to their different compounds or hamlets so that they'll be able to work. So we just finished working on the pro forma so that we can collect uniform information for everybody. So by the time we finish doing it, like in my community called Odumahia, if God blesses me, which I intend to, I can erect a memorial with their names, plaques and everything in my community. No government is going to stop me. It's a community project. We've lost our people during this war, during this genocide, and you have all these names clearly written there. Then any day the community chooses to honor them, they can always go there to lead with. And children can also go there and read and know that this Biafran war actually happened. People died. I can see this person, oh, I heard that this man is my uncle. I heard that he died at age 15, or he didn't even give birth to him. We can give a whole lot through that. And I'll advise that we just start small. By the time my little community of Oduma does it, Obakala, the next community does it, Olokoro, Afara, and the rest of them, you see that almost the whole of Umuahia must have done it in the next 5 or 10 years. And we begin to give flesh and humanity to this story. It will be sounding like one textbook story so that we can bring it home. And we know we have so many unnamed graves. I have 2 or so in my compound, people that didn't return, but just raising a memorial for them, so that people can know that these people didn't actually die in vain. That like my uncle that left Ibadan but never came back in 1967. So we can at least say his name is there. We know that he once lived. So that's my suggestion on that.
Very important. Great ideas, Uche. That's very good.
Can I say something, please?
Share the performer once you get it running, and make sure you're sounding like a medic. Of course, they're documenting everything, formalizing it, so that we can have a baseline, and then we can fine-tune it at a later date.
Yes.
Develop a performer that will work and can be archived, able. And then my main concern is getting it videoed, because people don't want to write or talk. So you just video it, maybe a phone or something, and then download it somewhere, because this is so critical before people go, particularly the elderly. And please, doesn't matter which language they use, they want to speak their native language, speak it in English, whatever language it is, please let them speak freely. And when they're tired, then you let go. So they've spoken as much as they can on that day. They'll come back another time. Okay. It's very, very vital. Thank you very much. Sorry, somebody wanted to say something.
I mean, according to, if you want to speak, can you raise your hand? So we have
according to hand raising, so we have some.
Please raise your hand electronically, please.
I have.
Okay, thank you. Can we have Uju, please? Sister Uju.
I don't know how to raise it electronically.
I've noted that Prince and HR. I've noted where you are on the. No worries. I've noted.
Thank you.
We have Sister Uju, please.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So I just want to thank the organizers of this event. It was just fantastic. This is one of the best things I've attended since I joined this struggle. It's just really brilliant, and yeah, it's something I'd really like to be a part of. So yeah, congratulations to Dr. Okachi, Chichi. I know you've been sending out flyers to every single forum that exists on the planet for this, and Sister Sophia as well. But thanks to all of you guys, and just everybody who organized it. It's been fantastic. And then of course the speakers as well, very I've been educated this evening. I've been enlightened, and it's just fantastic. So thank you very much to all concerned. At the beginning, Dr. Okachi, at the beginning, when we did the prayer, you said that we should pray for the 2-minute silence. You said that we should pray for we should remember the people that died during the war and those that died after the war. But you didn't mention those who had died actually even before the war started.
You're right.
So
you're right. I didn't know you would notice that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah. And Sister Sophia, I was just so touched by your presentation. Such passion. And I was really, really touched, as I said. And I want to correct this narrative about women. I often hear people saying stuff like, "Oh, women, they're emotional," or women, they're emotional. I was just about to say something, that's just BS. Let me put it that way. Women are formidable. Women are formidable. Like Sister Sophia says, we can do a lot. We're not emotional. And even if we are emotional, there's nothing wrong with that. Anger is an emotion. Men get angry, but we don't say, "Oh, he's emotional." Well, yes, he is emotional. And women we're emotional beings. So being emotional is not a bad thing, but I choose not to use that word because it has such negative connotations when it's associated with women. So I like to say that we're passionate about stuff. And Sister Sophia, you said it just so well, that we can do a lot. We have to stand out. We're not going to be sitting ducks. So the Fulani people kill our brothers, kill our fathers, our cousins, and we're just there sitting ducks, waiting to be raped by the Fulani Janjaweed. No. We got to do something, do whatever it takes. Get strong, get with the program. That's all I really have to say. So once again, thank you very much for everybody concerned, everybody involved with this program this evening. It's been absolutely fantastic. Ndewo.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next person, please.
We have Dr. Onyeka Ekekwe, please.
Need money to make this.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I know we spent quite a long time here, so I'll try to be as brief as I can. And all the presenters in this seminar, it was a great seminar. I really learned a lot from this. Honestly, a lot of things I'm hearing for the first time. I thank the two professors and also our in-law Dele Ogun, for all the brilliant presentation. Dele Ogun, the book you recommended, I've just begun to search for it and I'm going to order it. I really need to read that book, the one on democracy, the prospect of democracy. Really an important book that I must lay my hand on. So, not to waste much time, what I would like to suggest is that all the things we learn from this discussion today, I think is something that will benefit, the general public if we can actually find a way of disseminating this information. And I'm happy that Dr. Okachi has mentioned that the bid will be changed from day to dissemination. So that's a step in the right direction. I'm also wondering if we can do a documentary using people that know about filmmaking. For example, somebody like Chiwetalago, which we know, is a true Biafran to the core. These people, if we can use professionals like that, they wish to guide us on the best way to make a documentary, different kind of documentary that will be out there that people can watch and be educated. Our younger generation can also have access to. So what I'm saying in essence is that if it's possible for BID to form a kind of committee that can liaise with people that are in the film industry that can help them, reach people that need to be reached, to make a very good documentary. And just from this forum, I've already seen people that can contribute immensely to this documentary, that have all the knowledge. People like Delo Ogun, Professor Effiong, Professor, the commander of the BOF. And, there are so many people out there that I know that if contacted will be willing to help with such documentary. And regarding people that don't want to talk, I think there's a way people can, can be protected if their identity is going to be protected, but they can still participate in the documentary making. I'm not a professional in that respect, but I think that can be arranged if I don't want to be identified. I can give my story, and the story will be heard then without me being at risk. So once more, I thank the organizers and the presenters for a brilliant seminar. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad that I don't have to answer any more questions. You're blessed. It's possible to generate documentary, and I think we need to address the funding bit and so on. But this is another day. But I'm grateful you benefited from it. So let's have another question. Just before lots of people's hands still up.
Yes,
go to the point, people. Let's move.
Okay, can we have Susan Mounts, please?
Hi, everybody. So I'm Susan Mount, and I live in the United States of America, and I would like to make a comment. So I feel like I'm a stakeholder in this struggle as well, and I want to thank all of the Igbo war veterans that fought for my freedom here in America. So, and I also want to thank the veteran that has fought in Biafra land as well. I guess the comment that I'm trying to make is I cannot stress the importance of the diaspora to make our voices louder. And I agree with Miss Sophia. We have to up our game here in the diaspora. And part of doing that, we need to network close to ourselves. Just yesterday, I spoke to a nurse practitioner and explained to her all about Biafra, and she didn't know this was going on over there. And I did not. So we need to start closest to us. We also, I always say I like to keep several irons in the fire. I don't just leave one iron in the fire. I want several irons in the fire. We also need to disturb our congressmen. We already know the U.S. State Department is corrupt. We need to focus on the congressmen. I know Chris Smith, he's a congressman that has spoke against the Nigerian government, but we need to reach more congressmen. We've got him convinced. There's other Congress people, Congress offices that I've contacted. I've even called the UK government. And I think us as women, and I'm very passionate about it too, because I don't want to see women raped. I don't care who they are in this whole world, but I'm partial to the Biafran people because this is where I've been led spiritually. But our voice is louder. I went and protested in Washington, D.C. I went to the Nigerian embassy and the UK embassy. I feel like we need to be there once a week, every week. We need to make these voices loud. We need to get to the people closest to us and educate out from there. And that's my comment. And I really, really, really want to thank the Igbo veterans, whether they be veterans in Biafra land or veterans here that fought for my freedom, because Biafra is the last hope of Africa. And if the Islamist terrorists take over Africa, they will come over here. So I am a stakeholder in this struggle. To know you have my 100% respect and backing. And I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you very much.
Susan, you are blessed. Thanks for your presence here. Some people haven't seen you before. Is it okay to unmute so we can say hello? Because we don't want to bump into you in the street and not say hello.
Oh, yes, I would like to see Susan.
Thank you, Susan.
I'm kind of in a position that I can't turn on my camera right now, but just know I'm backing you all 100%, and I love networking. I want to network with as many people in the U.S. fighting for Biafra as I can. And mind you, there's other people like me. They're just not as outspoken on social media like I am.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you so much, Susan.
Thank you.
Next person.
Yes, yeah. The next person to ask a question is NWC. Action, please.
Oh, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Devon. I've really enjoyed this. I'm so grateful for this. It's fantastic. So I just want to be brief because time's gone. One Nnamdi, Dr. Uche, man. Thank you very much for your breakdown of genocide. I'm not putting the question per se, but I would just, if I was discussing, I would be discussing with you like this. The question I would say, because you were saying we can't prove the intent. The intent. That's the difficult bit, to improve intent. And I was and this is the bit that I was a bit lost with. I was thinking, if it's deliberate and systematic, and you have corresponding actions, doesn't that by itself prove intent? So if you've got the physical evidence, such as we had this, I think it was you saying about 30,000 bodies have been exhumed. If all these things are happening, why doesn't that prove intent? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. When I talked about the definition of genocide, for it to be seen as a crime, we talked about the intent and the act. The acts, very easy to prove. You can pinpoint 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And where the problem comes to is when you try to prove the intent, and that is where they worded it. When I talked about the politics of the language, the way they worded it. Now, I also said that intent can be inferred, in that you can put together actions together with circumstance, and you can say, yes, you actually did this to these people in this condition because it would have led to this. So there's no other way to explain why you kill 30,000 people, why you kill women, children, even those who are not even fighting in the battle, where you bomb hospitals and the rest of them, where you come up with a policy of shoot everything that moves, even if it is trees. So by the time you combine all these actions, you can actually infer that genocide has happened. So I also cited 2 cases from the Rwandan Genocide Tribunal, where the judge said that, I'm going to quote him again, he said, the physical targeting of the group or their property, the use of derogatory language towards members of the targeted group, the weapons employed and the extent of bodily injury, the methodological way of planning, and the systematic manner of killing. So you can piece these evidences together. So with all this, they were able to establish that actually these two persons, Sylvester and Tarsise, that they actually had that intent to commit genocide. So they pieced together their acts, and they were able to. I mean, you can't do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, and you can't say that you're just doing it for doing sake. So there was that element of conceptualizing it, planning it, before you could systematically carry it out the way you did, and to what extent.
This is what I'm asking. In light of everything you said,
yes,
evidence that's actually there.
Yes.
And you wonderful speakers have shared really clear, blatant evidence.
Yes.
And on top of that, the Amadou Bello video from, I think it was pre-1960, or just after independence. Why does that not show intent?
Okay, that actually shows it. The Biafran case is a clear case of genocide. But I think what is even hindering us is because of the people involved. Because in 1967 or 8, there was an international committee of jurists, which was commissioned by Biafra, who first made a case for genocide. And guess who kicked it out in the UN? The Britain. Exactly. So from the very onset, so there's been that systematic way of trying to silence it, because when you think about the crime of genocide, be it genocide, complicity, attempted genocide, or whatever, you can see that Britain actually was part of this. But because of the superpowers, those involved, they can also downplay it. So the Biafran case is a clear case of genocide, because you can piece in this evidence together, and you can clearly establish the intent that it was just to get Igbos, get them off the way, or kill Easterners, get them off the way, so as to have your Eastern free country or thereabout. So I hope that addresses your concern.
I'm going to jump in quickly. Statutes of limitation, you didn't touch on that. Britain wouldn't want to say, oh yes, we are helping and aiding and abetting, because it would be implicated. Yeah? And as I said, there's this 90-year-old lady they're still after for just typing. Yeah? Can you tell us a little bit about the statutes of limitation and genocide? And maybe some lawyers there will help us out. Can you get away with it after a certain number of years, or can you never get away with genocide? It's a crime against humanity.
I thought murder didn't have a statute of limitation, so I would presume genocide doesn't.
It doesn't. I mean, people are brought to book at any time. Whenever you're able to establish that case, they can answer for it. I don't even know whether they can do that posthumously, but it's not limited by time.
So Herod Wilson, notice the word Herod Wilson, the killer of Biafran babies, as well as Herod Wilson, it could be still strung up, even posthumously.
Honestly, that would be one of the happiest days of my life, to have him even posthumously face the crimes he committed.
Okay. All right, so it's worth moving on. All right, let's move on quickly. Sorry, there's a lawyer. There are lawyers in the house. What am I talking rubbish? Is Dele back?
Yeah, Dele can help us.
Hang up for my
Yes, I'm here. I actually had my hand up. So
what am I talking about? I mean, it's statutes of limitation and genocide. So
yes, there's no limitation period on criminal acts, and certainly the most heinous criminal acts, which is genocide and crimes against humanity, and yes, there is precedent for Harold Wilson to be exhumed from his grave and hung. It happened in the case that the English themselves set the precedent when Oliver Cromwell, who was the one who executed Charles I and was actually the first military ruler of Britain. When he died, he was... when the monarchy was restored, they took steps to dig up his body from his grave and to hang his skeleton. So you have good precedents there. In fact, it's ironic that I should touch on Cromwell, because that's the other unanswered question in relation to the Biafran genocide. The strange coincidence that the name of the first military ruler, or the nickname of the first military ruler of Nigeria, Aguiyi Ironsi, was the same nickname as the first military ruler of Britain, Oliver Cromwell. So Oliver Cromwell's nickname was Old Ironside. And Ironsi's nickname was also Johnny Ironside.
Yes, Iron.
And bear in mind, he had that nickname before the war, while he was serving under the British. So is it a strange coincidence that the first military ruler of Britain and the first military ruler of Nigeria both have the nickname Ironside? The suspicion is actually greater, because when I asked my wife, when I was writing my book, A Fatherless People, I asked her for the meaning of Aguiyi in the Igbo language. She being a fluent Igbo speaker and writer, instantly she said, Aguiyi means crocodile. And when I asked her, what does Ironsi mean in the Igbo language? She rolled her eyes for a while and said, it's not a word that has obvious meaning in the Igbo language. You can make sense of it if you break it down. Iro and Insi, then you can make sense of it. But Ironsi is not a word of itself in the Igbo language, which caused me to wonder, to add to the unanswered questions of the Biafran genocide. Was his name actually Ironsi, or was it that Ironside, if you remove the letter D and E at the end of Ironside, what do you get? You get Ironsi. And when I looked at his father's name, and to see whether his father's name, you know, this is how we lawyers reason, that if something looks a bit incongruous, you look for surrounding evidence. When I looked at his father's name, it was simply Agui, not a double-barrel name, Agui Ironsi. So in summary, there's no limitation period. You can dig up Wilson's body, exhume him from his grave, and you can hang him, and deservedly also. The other thing that I wanted to, when I had my hand up, I might as well deal with my comment now, which is in relation to my in-laws making sure that they capture this history. I'm speaking to you all, Igbo people, because this is precisely what I did in the case of my mother-in-law. Is when on the visits, I used to sit down and tease answers out of her and her husband, her late husband, to ask what happened. And it was in the course of her giving me the oral explanation that I, as a publisher, realized that there is a valuable story here, that it can't be allowed to go to the grave. So she told me about how she used to go behind enemy lines to buy salt with a view to, because she was a trader. The Afia attack, I was fascinated by that story.
Yeah.
More poignantly was the story of how my wife was almost nearly not my wife. The incident where she explained that the Egyptian piloted Nigerian Air Force planes, because there was no anti-aircraft firepower or anti-aircraft guns available to the Biafran side, they used to be able to fly very low with impunity in order to hit their targets directly. And there was an occasion when she was with her husband, and her husband, the late Alex Enaji, he was carrying Esther, who became my wife. She at that time was 2 going on 3, and her mother, Evelyn Ene, was carrying her younger sister. And the plane was approaching and flying very low. And of course, in that moment, they looked to run for cover. And her mother took cover behind a thicket, a thick bush. And her father, who was carrying Esther, was running to take cover under a tree, at which it was at the last minute that Esther's mum screamed at her husband, "Where are you going? Come here." And but for that instruction, Esther would not have been Mrs. Ogun, because the very place that the bomb hit was a tree under which the shelter, her father was looking to shelter. And it was only because at the last minute this instruction was given that they all took cover behind that the thicket. That's how Esther survived the war. And it's stories like this that we publishers, that we look at and say, this story needs to be told. And the point that I want to share with everybody is this. how you go about it is actually very simple. What we did, we arranged for somebody, we paid somebody to sit down with her mother, Esther's mother, to take the notes. And then once that raw material is down for posterity. So it doesn't cost much to take somebody, whether they're shorthand writers or longhand writers, especially those of you abroad, you can afford to send the money to employ somebody, sit down with these old people, get the stories, because once they go to the grave, the story is gone. And the reality is this: no two stories are the same. No two experiences are the same. There's no shortage. How many books and films do you see with different narratives of the Holocaust? Don't think that somebody else, Mrs. Evelyn Ene, has now done her own story and that there's no room for your story. There's room for all your stories. Just get it down, get the detail, and when you accumulate those stories and get them published, that is the evidence that you use in order to make Harold Wilson pay as Harold Wilson should pay.
Really, that's amazing. Thank you very much. As you're talking, I'm just going to let other people talk. It's in Ironside, Iron Seat, but Jack Yakubu Gowon was so called Jack, isn't he? Jack, the nickname. And when you're a jack of a jackass or something like that. Anyway, that's another story. The plane air raid is so fascinating because I have witnessed they come so low. The sonic boom, the actual sound coming from the plane alone will scare the hell out of you. And they talk about stand still, no movement. You heard about people running. Stand still, no movement is a favorite phrase which the army will say. But when you look around, you don't see any of them vanish. The idea of standing still is that the plane can't see you when you're standing still like a tree. But don't be fooled. They are so low, you can actually see the pilot grinning. Yeah, they're grinning because there's nobody to shoot this attack or anti-aircraft at them. In fact, where I was as a child, it was close to Owerri City, and the Nigerians were actually inside Owerri. They were surrounded. So they go to Owerri area to bomb the surrounding areas. When they get anywhere near the city, they get shot at by the Biafran soldiers. So they had a free run. In other words, it's like you're flying a plane. Nobody's going to attack you. You just pick your target, do what you want to do. And it takes courage. The annoying thing about this is that you don't know if next day, when another one comes, whether they're going to be alive. So the psychological pain that people went through is difficult to describe. When you hear an air raid, even today, I was not up to today. When you go to any place where the jets are taking off, these are not, propeller planes. These are jet fighters. They move so fast. When you look up, you see two lights flash out, and they've disappeared. And those lights actually release on the ordnances. The area is blown up. It's an incredible thing to describe an air raid. But if you survive one, I don't think you'll ever forget the tale. But thanks for sharing that one. So quickly, let's move on.
Sorry, Mazi,
how many have we got left?
I had to change my device because the other one was fluctuating. If I could be made co-host again, I would have 2, 4, 6, 8.
If anybody's question has been answered already, please.
I want to say.
I'm aware you're waiting. I'm aware you can't raise your hand electronically. I have your name written down. Yes.
And Fatherland.
Yeah, the next person is Mazi. Sorry, Dr. Justice. Go ahead, please.
Have you been made co-host again?
Not yet.
Can someone make Titi co-host, please?
Okay. Doctor, the next person is Fatherland.
Fatherland. Okay. Is that Bunny, have a go. Yeah. Nice to hear you.
Okay, it's Bonnie.
Thanks for all your help, by the way.
Thanks very much. And Darren, I'm going to speak to two things: what we do at Fatherland and what I do in my day job. At Fatherland, we do a lot of digitization. So, for example, today's event is being recorded as well by Fatherland, and we will be publishing it through our own network. So we already do digitization wherever we are called upon. For example, 2 weeks ago, we were with the Oni of Alafi of Oyo. I recorded that, and it's on our website. So if you go to fatherland group.org, you'll see all our videos on our first page. So we do a lot of digitization, and at the same time, we put up on a podcast on my private business, on my family business, which I would like to share with you. So people are talking about digitization. We're already doing that at Fatherland. So Fatherland gives us a lot of media content. So we've got a lot of content, and we're pushing them out there. So the idea is that we are collating information. For example, I run around document that came out yesterday. They shared it on Fatherland. And because I wanted it to be shared to a lot of our people, because I believe a lot of our people will consume more podcasts more than reading. Okay, so we digitize it, and actually, you hear this happened this morning. Just to prove what I'm saying, I'll share my screen. Just have a look.
Yes.
So this is called BG Media. It's a software that was put together by my brothers and myself. And we did it digitized. So, for example, you see Billy's book. This was Billy's. This was a podcast I did.
Welcome to Storytelling.
For example, right,
Chapter 2.
This is Billy's book.
The Reverend Father, the Mujahid, and the Sheikh. The demons soon discovered and abused the natural propensity of the human heart towards devotion.
Okay, right. Let me just stop that. This will go on. But basically, we're digitizing as we're going along. This will be launched next month. So, like I said, this event is being recorded, and you'll see how we present it at Fatherland. So today's show will be on our Fatherland website by tonight.
It's more audience. I think I'm hoping it's also on Radio Biafra and Facebook Live.
We've always shared data, so when they can go to our website and download it. But it will be there. It will be there, absolutely. And if they want original files, I'm happy to do that, because there is a way we record. No, we don't use the Zoom versions. We record ours. You will see when ours come up. Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much. That's good.
Okay.
Right. Quickly, next person.
Yeah, that could be Thank you.
Okay, the next person will be if Fatherland, Bonnie, please can you put down your hand, because I'm not yet a host. I can't do it from here. Can someone please make me co-host?
Can someone make Titi host? Oh.
Can I have our sister Cordelia, please? Thank you. I've been made a co-host. Can we have our sister Cordelia, please?
Sorry, I can't show my picture. I just want to thank everyone that has organized this conference. It's my first time, and I'm really, I don't know, I really felt blessed with all the information. The professors from US, Delo Ogun, our in-law, and everyone, and Dr. Kachi as well, Mr. Kachi. them out to the media, which I think is not a good thing at all to do. So if there is any way we can find out or try to dissuade them not to, like my other brother said, to hide their identity, you know, and not to show them, because they know what these barbarians say, Fulanis are. So that's my contribution, and I want to thank Sophie for speaking up for the women. We are ready to do anything for Biafra, we the women. You showed that during the women mega rally, we did a lot, and we're going to do more. God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was nice and short and sharp to the point. Next person, please. Be mindful of the time. We've spent 1 hour extra.
1 hour extra.
My goodness. You've got 10 more minutes and then we'll stop.
Okay. Please, if you have your question to ask, please, could you just go straight to the point and make it, short, brief, and so we have exceeded 1 hour, and I'd like to thank everyone that has waited. Pardon us for exceeding 1 hour. I crave your indulgence to give us more time just to take all the questions. I can see that Professor Philip F. Young's hand is up. Professor, please, I'll make sure you jump the queue and come in front, please. Everybody, pardon me. Please.
Oh, that's
please.
I appreciate the honor, but I would prefer not to jump the queue. If I can't get to my point, there'll be another time, I'm sure. But please let me not jump the queue.
Okay,
that's a proper Biafra.
Go ahead, Prof.
Go ahead.
Yeah, can we have Mazi Wajagu, please? Thank you.
Okay, okay, Biafra.
Okay, Biafra.
Yeah, we first and foremost start to thanking the organizers of today's program, and I want to thank our brother, our uncle, Dr. Philip F. Young Jr. I've met you before in London, and I see you again today. I'm very happy to see you again. I want to thank our veteran Onuke. I don't know if I get the name correct, but I want to say thank you very much for educating us. I want also to thank Dele. They said that every child has two homes, the mother side and the father side, and you have shown that you're a true in-law. I say welcome to today's program, and I want to thank our formidable Lolo, Chidema Kanu Monday, for always being there for us. There is one other number, you are one of them. And also want to thank our sister. The latest one is Susan Mont. I've been following you, and we see what you are doing all this while. We say thank you very much for coming. It is not everybody that will call that people will gather, so we are privileged to have all of you in our midst. We want the message to go as far as possible. What I want to bring in tonight is not about questions, but it is an experience that I had, and I would like us to hear it so that maybe it will encourage us, because they say catch them young. In as much as the Nigerian government and their collaborators want to finish Biafras, when you finish the children, there will be no future. By then, the elders can no longer have children. And if you kill the elders and left the children, that means there are still hope children. That means there is still hope for the children. So we should know, in as much as our enemies have shown us what they have in mind from the first time they started attacking us and killing us, to the extent of killing an unborn child. They open up the pregnant woman's stomach and kill off the child that's as innocent. And I don't think there's any other kind of evidence we need before we start telling our children from day one, you are a Biafran. You are not a Nigerian, and there is nothing like Nigeria. Nigeria is just a falsehood. And anybody telling his child or children that they are Nigerians are doing the children the service. Now, why am I saying this? My child went to see doctor with her mother. They went again to the place. I've shared this story to my group, Liverpool family, and they get to the doctor, and the doctor looked at the surname and said, can you be able to pronounce this name? And the child said yes, and he pronounced. He said, okay, do you know the meaning of this name? He said yes. He said, so you are Nigerian? The child said no. So where are you from? He said, I am a Biafra. The child is 7 years old. And the doctor said, you are politically correct. Mm-hmm. So the point I'm trying to make here is, we should not look at our children and say they are too young to know our history or to know the history of what happened to them. It doesn't matter where the child was being given birth. It doesn't matter the passport is having. Your ancestor is your ancestor, and you are a continuation of your ancestor. So if we all of us can start from today, if you are not doing it, please start from this night to tell your child that the first story they told you that you're Nigerian is a lie. You are British or you are American, you are anywhere, but you are from Biafra origin. That means you are Biafra. And it's not from your surname. So please, let us not shy away from that. It is very, very important that we tell our children who they are from day one. Because if you listen to the music of Brenda Fassie during the apartheid regime, when the South Africans were fighting, they said, shoot them before they grow. We don't just listen to music because it's music. There's a lot of message being passed through music. But Marley said, if you know your history, and you know where you're coming from, nobody will be able to deceive you. So Biafrans, we know that we are Biafrans and we know that we are hated, and we must know why they hate us. And for that reason they hate us, we must always work hard to make sure and prove to them that you can't suppress whom God has blessed. We didn't bless ourselves. So with this, I want to say thank you all for coming, and I'm looking forward to next year on. It will be Kodopro. All hail Biafra.
All hail Biafra. Thank you very much.
All hail Biafra. Thank you.
Right. There we go. Chichi, quick. Next
person is Mazi Emeka Eziche. No, I've now jumped the queue. It's actually Professor Effiong. I'm not the one jumping. Sorry, sir. Yes, it's Professor Effiong next.
Okay, as long as you didn't jump the queue, I just wanted to go back because I've heard some very interesting focus, mostly from the women, about women. I just want to suggest that at some point, this is a topic that is dear to me for a number of reasons. I think at some point when we organize one of these gatherings, the focus should be entirely or predominantly on women. Something happened that bothered me some years ago, about a year before General Ojukwu passed on. The wife that was with him during the war, Mrs. Njideka, or Auntie Njideka, like we called her, passed. There was hardly any reference to her. Hardly any reference. And when I call people out and talk to them, they don't even know who she was. I think this is very, very unfair. Because these women, apart from mafia attack, they were the ones that held the families together. They control the healthcare. When you think about the refugee situations, a lot of people survived because of our mothers and sisters. And still on that topic, since I was talking about earlier today, I was talking about the non-violent genocidal methods. After the war, these women were also extremely significant. I'll give the example of my family. My father, like a lot of officers, had been senior officers in commanding positions since the 1950s. After the war, when they were reduced to quote unquote nothing professionally, it was hard for them to shift from being supervisors and people who gave instructions to now go and start hustling. But not our mothers. Without my mother, and I didn't get into this in my talk, but without my mother and a lot of these mothers, our families would not have been sustained. My mother pulled up her sleeves and did any and everything. She sold drinks from the house. She sold clothes from the veranda of the house. She used to have me grind beans and sell moi moi. This was what our mothers did. So we need to give them special attention and not just mention them in passing in these in these seminars or meetings. And you know, in order to do this, I think we also need to start mentioning names. You know, when we talk about the mention was made of the women who carried out the revolution in the former eastern region. How many of us can mention any of those women? Their names. So we have a problem here, and I think we need to consider addressing this problem by revisiting and giving women the attention that they fully deserve. Many of us would be nothing and we wouldn't be where we are without our mothers and our sisters, our aunts, our grandmothers. The list goes on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well done. Thank you. Good point. So we'll take that one of the topics.
Thank you, sir.
Next.
Hello.
Next person in the Mazi H.
Chichi.
Ozival.
Are we going to be winding down?
Yes.
It's my turn. Is that HOG? Yeah, because
in a minute, just hold on. Yes, Mazival, go ahead, please.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that if everyone with their hands up continue talking, I don't think we're gonna do it. We have to start winding down.
1, 2, 3, 4.
How many have we got left?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people left. If we say
let's gonna give everybody 15 minutes, Chichi.
Okay,
15 minutes,
1 minute.
ask your question straight, and then that's it.
Exactly. And after this, please, no other person should raise their hand, please. So we could take the people with their hands up now. I won't take any other hands up. Please don't be offended with that. So can I have?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Can we have Mazi H. Oji, please?
Good evening, each and every one of us here. I use this opportunity to thank Dr. Kachi for the organizing and all the parties that made it happen. Mr. Ogun, Dr. Uche, Professor Effiong, Professor Ono, Caro Mundi, the family name, Sophia Kalu, the family name again. I'm privileged to see all your faces today. I'm really excited, and I will say thank you so much, and God bless and keep you for us the more. Again, it's Nwajagu. I benefited so much from what you shared, and I'm very happy as well. I have just a little and simple question, which is to say, we are having problem with garnering clothes. Most of the people that are, they are by the side, or they are not just Igbo speaking. Why? There are one, but sometimes even when we meet them where we work, they will outrightly say they are not, despite all that is going on. It's a very big thing that gives me a very big thinking most of the time. And one other thing I'm looking at is, by God's grace, Biafra is coming. When Biafra comes, assuming it comes by referendum, fine. Assuming it didn't come by referendum, how can this be done? Let's assume that it comes out to say, bring these people close. Maybe Onyendu we arrange it, but I know that Onyendu we need people to also get this thing done. But this
pardon me, your 2 minutes is up.
It's up, okay. It's up, okay. Finally, I just want to say, these things we are talking, is it recorded that we can see somewhere? I think it has been answered. And with that, I close and say thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Carry on. Next question.
Okay, Lady Obi, please.
Good evening, all.
Go ahead, Obi. We can hear you.
Okay, good evening, all. What? So they asked about if it's being recorded. That's what I want to contribute. It's being streamed on different television. So you can watch it there with live as the Biafra Education Awareness Program is going on. People are watching it live and they are commenting on it. So a lot of thousands has viewed it so far. So in case if you want
could you mute your phone, please?
Just go on Facebook.
Go ahead.
What I'm saying that you can watch it live. Some people are watching it live as the program is going on. Even Radio Biafra is also, CJ is also streaming on Radio Biafra while I'm streaming on Biafran television. So you can still have it there. After this program, you can go there, you will see it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your efforts, Obi. Next, please.
Can we have Prince Charles, who couldn't raise his hand electronically before we come to Christina? Can we have Prince Charles, please, if you're there? Yes. I took note of that.
Yeah, but thank you, gentlemen. All protocol observed. I want to say something about women. When Sophia was speaking, he said something about women that enticed me. He said the Fulanis would not like a woman to kill them. I would like let our women learn that enjoy the force. When the Hausas, when the Fulani hears that it's the women that are now in the force, they will run away. That's one point. Second one is this. From what observations I've made here and the statement people have asked, I'm suggesting I experienced the war and my mother was killed in my presence. So I'm ready to testify in any court of law in the world about the genocide against Biafrans. This is my conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing. Next, please.
Yes, our sister Christina on Galaxy F9, please.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Go ahead, please.
I just want to thank the organizer. I know many people have said word of thanks, but I'm really, really happy this day has come. Because I remember one of our meetings in the Ken family when I asked where can we get this information, and then I was told about BID. So I was really, really looking forward to this day, and I'm happy it's here. But it's like attending a 1 year or 6 month course in one day. So it was quite fascinating and so much information to absorb. So I'm happy many people have talked about conferences, a 3 days conference. I think it will be very, very fantastic to have that. So you can have the pictures and the literature alongside, and that it will make even more sense. And also, a lot of people added on to what Sophie said about the Biafran Army. I am ready. I cannot wait to see the day the Biafran Women Army will be launched, whether from UK or from any part of the world. It is going to be something fantastic. And then finally, somebody mentioned already about regarding telling our children. I was suggesting whether we can have a forum, create a forum where it's only for children to really, really tell our children, because before now, some of our children, especially from African descent, they don't like to be related to say they are from Africa. But now, I think because of a lot of things, that narrative is changing. So having a forum to even tell them more about where they are from and to be proud about it, I think it will be very, very useful. Even to us, our struggle, and because our children, they say they're tech savvy, so they can have their information they can put in their pages, and that's another way of telling the world about the Biafran struggle. So it would be nice to get our children really, really involved, because I know my children, they are involved. Even though today they're different to what's happening, but they're a bit touched and scared about some of the pictures that they saw. So we need to try and show them that picture more, so they are not, it's like, to desensitize them, or I'm not sure the right way to use, so that they know those things are real, they are not fake things, and then to get them too involved, and I think it will go a long way to letting the world know what's happening, what happened, and what is still happening to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well done. Next, please.
Mazi Patrick Njoku.
Hello, I greet you, my brothers and sisters. Patrick Njoku here. I want to make it brief. I'm touching the area of gathering material that will be helped in producing some short movies and whatever that will help to inform people of what we went through. I was 17 years old when the war started, and I joined the army in 1968. So I came across a book recently by one of the ex-Biafran soldiers, a friend of mine. The title of his book is My Mother's Wife. So it's like he started with his personal story, which coincided with the time the war started and what his family went through up to when he observed and noticed the type of carnage, the horror that he saw growing up, and how the Nigerian, we call them Hausa soldiers, slaughtered our people in the market squares. There was a young man that had shell shock. He was literally macheted in public arena where everybody could see him. He was coming back, as somebody with a shell shock. He didn't have control of himself. So the Nigerian soldier, that was 1970, I think, around the 11th of January. That's a day before the war ended. So the type of thing we saw and we lived through. I mean, you think of the Gowans. No victor, no vanquish is a sham. That is something that confused people, and of course we know it has no meaning, because the Hausa soldiers or Nigerian soldiers came into the villages with their gun, raping women, their daughters, our sisters. It was something that I can't begin to imagine. If you lay your hands on this book, My Mother's Wife by the same name, you will see a portion of it that will reawaken the anger, because there has to be an anger in us of what was done to us. It was horrible. It can't begin to even narrate it in human language. So I am so pleased. I'm sorry that I have to rush through it because time is against us. What I'm seeing today, I wish and I plan to join next time when this type of forum will be aired. I'm here in Canada, and I thank Dr. Philip Effiong's son. I met his father earlier after the war in Enugu, and I'm particularly happy to hear Dr. Chief Okachi and these, especially Professor Dele. He really touched me with his book and the things he has been doing with himself. Uche and all of you, I don't know whom I will call and leave the other. I am so impressed with this is happening, really. This is not the type of Africa I knew before. These people that mean business with the survival. And I'm all for survival. I'm an elderly gentleman. I'm in my 70s. What happened in the fighting fields of that war? And it's something that when I tell my children about it, they look at me. Dad, you went through that? I ate lizard, snake. I ate rats. How desperate can you get? It was a horror. And if there's a way for Professor Dele Ogun will put his information so I can reach him sometime. And my number is, I don't know if I can give my number out here, but I don't mind, you can have my number, because I'm a retired person. I'm doing some writing now on my own, and I would like people like Dele Ogun to give me some pointers. I admire his well-calculated method of putting things together. This is an amazing forum. I thank God that I'm able to join, even though I came late, but better late than never. So I want to thank all of you. I salute you, Biafrans. We will survive.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, we get Dele to make touch base. Touch base. Somehow. Leave your number. with us, and then we'll pass it on to David. Yeah.
Okay. How can I give my number out on the forum in the comment?
Mazi, can you private chat? I'll send you a message. Chichi is speaking. Then you reply to my message, and I'll take your number from there. Do you know how to use the chat?
No, these are kid stuff. Can I give you my number of just verbally? You just write it. I don't care who gets it because these are all my people here. I'm not scared of, Please, it's one.
If you don't mind.
Okay, 1-416-843-7768, and the name is Patrick Njoko. Please, I will really appreciate it if you get in touch with me. I'm all mushy with this because I suffered in that war. It's a horror, So if there's anything God will help us to accomplish during this time, so we can give our future generation something to look up to and be proud that they belong to a dynamic people, dynamic race. The Biafrans, not just the Igbos, the Calabars, the Ogojas, all these people, they were part of us. Even my brother, Delo go now with his wife, you're part of us. And I'm so impressed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you get that number, Chichi?
I did. Yes, I did, sir. I did.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
God bless you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, too.
A proper O'Grady.
Praise God.
Okay. Chichi, have we finished?
No, just 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Just 3 minutes. Only 3 minutes.
Okay.
1 minute each. Rabbi Charles, please.
Okay.
Yeah. Good evening, all, and good evening to everyone, and to our Honorable Mr. Justice Okashi and the great man, Dr. Philip F. Young Jr. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And others other comrades that I saw last time at Goldsmith University. I may not know your name, but I know you are very, very formidable. Dr. Philip F. Young Jr. has been a great inspiration. What he said and everything I've been feeling about his dad, I see everything in him.
That's right.
It is someone that maybe he may not remember who is speaking, but I think last time I bought a lot of his book, I gave it out to so many people, and I'm every now and then I will glance into it and look at it, and I would like to, maybe as time progresses, I will get his details through Dr. Justice Lois Okachi, because as time goes on, we need to talk on some issues. But thank you, sir. Thank you for everything, your time, and for what I know that it was a great loss for your dad, for what you people went through for the sake of Biafra. So each time I hear from you, I have that feeling that, that debunks that saying that Biafra is all about the Igbos. It's not true. Your father spoke clearly. I heard what he said. His soul will continue to rest in the bosom of the Lord. And remember, every Biafran is looking up to you, including myself, and so many of you that saw what we didn't see. Elohim will keep on strengthening you. And those things that you lost, Elohim, I believe him, he will restore everything back in 100-fold. Dr. Okashi, I can't thank you enough for putting this thing together. Each time I come to this program, I always shed tears when I hear you people talk. When I listen to you people speaking, I will be shedding tears here. But you don't know. People think Rabbi is not emotional. I am very, very much emotional than anyone here. But I know how to package it, that people don't see it. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you for the opportunity. And thank you for everyone that attended to this, including those in America. I thank you. Carol Monday also, I thank you, and so many others. I thank you all. Thank you very much.
Dr. Okachi, give my number to anybody who wants it, please.
Okay, I will.
He's the last speaker, and anybody who wants my information, please feel free. You have my permission. Thank you so much.
I'm grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next to speak is Sister Lovett, please.
Go ahead.
You have to unmute yourself, please.
My name is Mrs. Cyril Lovett. So I want to contribute this contribution in what we are doing. And I just want to say my regards to my brother, Dr. Ukachi. Thank you for this organization. Thank you for this organization and others. The one thing I want to say about this, our struggle, is to unite and focus to what we want to achieve. Focus to our goal. Our goal is Biafra. Let us focus to go to what we want to achieve. That is Biafra. We can never achieve our goal easily. My family was in North, and all of them were all my brothers. And I know how they unite. Fulanis are not much. The Fulanis are not much. But one thing that makes them to achieve so many things they want to achieve is unity. They unite themselves. They don't look for post. Don't look for I want to be in this post. They don't know about post. What they know that thing they want to achieve. If we can mind and love one another, no matter what,
I'm talking.
Our voice, one voice, we will achieve, and they will fear us, and they will run. They will run away from our land. Because I know them. We were born there. And another thing I want opportunity to tell those people in Biafra, those they will be the last done for Fulanis. They will kill them. I'm telling you, they will kill them. I just want to use this opportunity because they just want to use them as to achieve what. But they will be last done. That is somewhere. They will kill them. During Metasina, such thing happened. It was very close to my school. The man from Ozobo who wired Musa house 20 rooms, he was his best friend, and after everything he was the first person he went to kill. So my topic now is, please let us have one mind. One mind is very important, and all these conflicts in the media, it gives me concern. All these conflicts on media, they are laughing at us. Even others who are not Biafrans in other countries, I know many countries that in support us or in support of us, but they don't like all this. It brings their moral down. If anything like all this conflict, if they can discuss it behind the scene, I think I will be happy. Not in the media. So that our enemies will not have the opportunity to go into some of us. It's very, very important. Thank you very much for this organization. Please, we were expecting it next time. It's very classical. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can we have Mazi Emeka Eziche, please? Mazi Emeka. Eziche. Mazi Kaichi. Mazi, can you hear me?
Let's move on. I guess it's not here.
Yeah. I think he's there now. His video. Mazi, are you showing something to us? No, we can't hear you.
Is he on mute?
No, he's not.
Okay, let's go ahead. Next one.
Mazi, sorry, you're not on mute and we can't hear you, so we have to move on. And you are actually the last person. You're now on mute. Can you unmute yourself and try again? Try again.
You can hear. I'm coming out clear.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yes, you are.
Thank you, Dr. Okachi. Thank you, Professor Effion and Dr. Uche, everybody, Dele, all my brothers and sisters, everybody, you know, even listeners, because this program today brought back memories of Biafran war as a kid. You know, some of us are the survivors of that wicked genocide and starvation. You know, we suffered kwashiorkor, people like us. You know, maggots came out of our body. Some of us that we are living in the village then, you know, like my village where I came from, we had a missionary church behind our house. There, the Nigerian army camped there then. I could remember, you know, how they were coming into our villages. My own family, they picked up 9 men and slaughtered them. Different villages, different houses. They took our men, they slaughtered them. Buried some of them as we are speaking today. You know, is a reflection of what I saw as a kid. There are places I can go back home now and point at the place so many people were buried. Some of these things were not documented. Some of all those genocide, you know, were never recorded. Over the years, we grew up, you know, because of that fear, what we went through in the hands of a Nigerian army or the HAUSAs, because as at then, our parents used to tell us, you know, that these HAUSA people, they hated us so much that they don't want anything good for us. You know, that the time is coming, we are going to be free from their hands. Like I've said in a couple of places, during that time, our parents would take us under a bunker they built because of the bombing, the shellings. We will be there for a couple of days, sometimes a week, 2 weeks, you know, in the bunker. When the bombardment is over, we will come out. After the Biafran war, some of us, you know, carried those scars of a Biafran war on us. And we've been waiting for a day, you know, that we'll be free from Nigerian government. Like some of our brothers said here, the people from fatherland that are doing good documentary, like Dr. Dele and other people that have written books. Like one of our brothers said, if there is any day that there will be people to testify in a ICCJ against Nigerian government for the genocide they committed in Biafra land, people like me would like to be there, you know, to testify things I saw as a child, and even to show the scars of that Biafran war that I'm still carrying to today. So I thank everybody that have gathered today for all of us, you know, to rub minds together and to learn, because they've been using this, you know, guns and bullets and subjugation to make us live as slaves. But now we have risen up. We thank God that God has sent somebody in the person of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, you know, to awaken all of us and all the people that have been doing work underground. I say, may God bless everybody, you know, for the job all of us are doing. And like our sister said, we all have to unite, be speaking with one voice, you know, so that we will get away from the hands of Nigeria. We are not Nigeria. I've lived in Europe, you know, abroad since 1989 till now. I've never answered a Nigerian, you know, and I never had any Nigerian inclination. Nigeria has given me nothing, neither me nor my family. You know, all of us, every family in Biafra land, we all have the scars on us. And this is opportunity for all of us, you know, to come together and work as one, speak with one voice, so that we will be free. Thank you so much, my brothers and sisters. May God bless everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mazi. Appreciate it. Just as we were about to say the closing remarks, somebody raised his hand up. And Andrew, we said no more hands, but we're going to give you 30 seconds to quickly say something. You just have 30 seconds. I'll stop you after 30 seconds. Your time starts now, Andrew. Unmute yourself. Andrew, you turned off your camera. If you don't have what to say, I'll hand over to Dr. Andrew, do you want to say something? Unmute yourself. We can't hear you. Okay.
Hello.
Better.
Yeah, this is me, Andrew.
Okay,
thank you for giving me the opportunity. You know?
Yes.
I happen to be the last speaker. Must thank Dr. Okachi, Philip F. Young Jr., and Dele Ogun as well, and all the speakers and everybody that has found time to attend this, seminar. I'm very much, excited to be in your midst. You know, it's quite an enlightening, section for us and for everybody as well. I'm so delighted. But there's an experience that I would have wanted to share, but because of the limited time that is being given to me, I think I will, be restrained, not to take much of the time, because I'm aware, like, we have exceeded the actual time for this seminar meeting. So, honestly, the issue of a referendum, Biafran referendum, should be like a focus for every Biafran, and like, it's high time we should be looking, for a time frame for a referendum. If there is a need for an ultimatum to be given for a referendum, we should, focus our energy on that, because I think we don't have much time on our hands as it stands now, because the enemies are devising so many strategies, to, scuttle our efforts that has been made, and, we have to, like, beat them to the test, because the issue of this referendum has been lingering for years now, and I don't know, the international community has been silent. My case, as a case study, I've sought asylum in the United Kingdom. Believe you me, I've not even been given an opportunity to attend an interview. My interview has been suspended for more than a year now, giving, frivolous excuses that they don't have, they are trying to fix a time, they're trying to fix a time, they're trying to fix a time, they're trying to fix a time, So just for you people to understand the situation we are in, this is a global conspiracy. I'm beginning to lose confidence in humanity as it stands now. For the fact that you're a human being and Biafra is going under this subjugation, I'm totally, dissatisfied. Even addressing you as a human being, wherever you come from, whatever planet you're coming from, or whatever country you're coming from. So, honestly, this issue of Biafra is something that is very, 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 meticulous. I don't know, and delicate. I don't know how we're going to handle this, because humanity is about to lose its conscience as it stands pertaining the issue of Biafra, because this issue is something that needs to be addressed. and it must be addressed. I am so glad that people that are reasonable, that has conscience, are working towards this effort, and that gives me a lot of joy and encouragement. To still have a sense of belonging in this world per se, because like sometimes you begin to wonder what is actually happening. Is this?
Thank you, Andrew.
So I must leave my other inputs hanging, because I know we are almost out of time, but I thank everyone that has contributed immensely in this Biafran Education Awareness Day and dissemination. So it's been a fantastic gathering, unlike what we used to have when we have some national meetings. And I believe my sister
Andrew. Thank you. Thank you. I knew I had given you extra time because you wanted to put out something that pertains to your personal story, and I allowed it. Thank you. I don't know if anybody wants to address any of his concerns, or we should just move on.
I think we run out of time.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you, everybody. I'm just going to
say something. 3 minutes. 1 minute. On bid. Okay, just to say that if anybody wants to be added onto the bid WhatsApp page, just send me a private message. Don't put your number up if you don't want to. Just send me a private message and you'll be added on. And you can always follow bid on Facebook. We're on Facebook, Biafra Education Awareness Day. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and also our YouTube page will be coming out very soon. And just to thank everybody for being here today, all the speakers, I appreciate it. Thank you. If you have any other question, you can drop your question in the chat and I'll try to address it. If I can't, I'll get someone that will. Thank you, sir. Thanks for
everybody who is not on Facebook. What's your name? What's your name? The last picture, so that I will know how to private chat you right away.
I will take the question. Is that what Maduka? I didn't get your question. Sylvia Chichi, that's my name. Chichi.
Thank you. Sylvia Chichi, okay, thank you.
Just send me a private message and I'll pick up your number. Thank you.
How do I do that?
Okay. I'd like to thank everybody. We'll find out how to sort that out. Okay. I'm really, really grateful to every single person who's come today, including those who have left. There's only one thing to plug. I learned a lot from, I don't know if you can see me, from this book I'm holding up. Yeah? Can you see it? Does the camera show it at all?
Yeah.
Yes, we can see it.
It's called Cage Bird Sang No More. Okay?
What did you say?
The Cage Bird Sang No More. Okay, don't judge a book by its cover. Basically, it's a book by our last leader, Philip Effiol. And the professor himself is here, who, according to him, just have to flick through it, didn't have to edit it. It's from his dad. And you can tell, I mean, I don't even need to discuss it. Just get a copy. It gives you so much details about what Biafra was all about, and in-depth history about what our people have gone through. And the courage, as I say, is contagious. He faced the Nigerians, okay, after the war. Now, if they say, I've got one thing to say, if they think that Biafra was an evil affair, why did they accept the surrender documents from him? Okay.
I know.
Okay, so they know it's not an evil affair. That's why he signed the surrender papers and they accepted it. So this paper will help you a great deal. Okay, it will help you a great deal. So get a chance to get it. You can contact the teacher myself, and we'll make it available to how you get it. Thank you very much. Now, I'm going to ask Val to give us a vote of thanks. I can thank everybody, but that's it. Something I'm going to do more personally rather than spending more time here. So, Val, you're on, sir. Thank you. You wind this up.
Well, good evening, dear friends. There's no need of thanking him. I mean, there's so much thanks this evening to everyone. And, well, I thank everyone for coming. I mean, it's been a long run since 3 p.m. And we have more or less 2 hours overrun. So, our Professor Effiong, I don't need to go over. I mean, he have those times and we can't thank you enough. If not for this COVID, I think this year would have been probably in USA. But thank God, with the help of Zoom, we're able to carry this event out. So probably by next year, we do it as we normally do it in the hall, and people will come from far and wide to exhibit, showcase whatever we have and what we tell our people. Anyway, I don't want to call names. Our in-law, I will also thank you, Dele, and Dr. Uche Anyanwago. Thank you very much for your contribution. I strongly believe by this time next year event, we will also have more people who come and join in. The most important thing and the only message I'm leaving here, everyone, from my own side, is that at the end of the day, we must restore Biafra. That's the only way we can live as a human being. That's the only guarantee we have to live a decent life. So if anybody don't agree on that, sorry, but my take is no matter what we do, the bottom line is Biafra restoration.
Sir.
I don't have to thank everybody. We thank enough. People who came from, people who are site patients. So many people have exited already because of time. But I thank you all and remain blessed. And I strongly believe that next year will be better than this year. So who knows? Maybe next year we'll be doing it in Biafra. Yes. My own take is Biafra. No matter what we are saying here, let the arrow, let the laser focus completely on Biafra restoration. There's nothing like Nigeria. Nigeria is not meant well for us. Nigeria is actually not meant for the interest of even planning our black race. But some people and their myopic mind, they don't get it. You understand? We don't hate each other. Even if here in the whole Western world, every nation is on their own. Luxembourg, if you check their nation, about 613,000. They are a nation. Scotland,
Iceland is 350,000.
Yeah, hold on. Scotland, the creator of Nigeria, who created Nigeria, that owns the patent rights. Lugard and Northwest. They are about 5,017,000 out of 2021 census. You get me? That is not even up to a local government in Lagos State or Imo State or whatever. So what are we talking about? So they make sure that none of them lord it over anybody. But when they want to do something, they come to a round table and agree. So I don't see where you can say that Biafra, how you can say that Biafra that is well over 70 million in population is not viable enough to be. Who does that, I ask?
Doshi.
You understand? Who even can any of us create a street here out of the rest of us? But they will come here and down there and create a country and keep on manipulating. Let us come together and debunk and get this thing out of the way and go home. And we are not scared of any HAUSA plan. For God's sake, America, I mean, Professor Ewa and my senior brother Effiong, you guys have been there. America is how many years? 200 and something. How many war have they fought? I'm not projecting war, but if anybody come to kill us, we have every right to defend ourselves. Self-defense is natural law. All we are saying is leave us alone. We just want to be who we want to be. Stay away from us. So Biafra we must restore. Very simple. Okay, Doc, I think I will call maybe Professor Effiong to give us a closing prayer because we don't want to dwell anymore on this. We had enough for today, and if we dissect whatever we did here and make use of it, it will take us a long way. So, Professor Effiong, please, sir, if we are still around, do you want to give us a brief closing prayer? Thank you, sir.
Yeah. We want to give thanks and honor to God, and we recognize that we have different channels through which we connect with the Almighty. Some people say Abasi, some say Chukwu, some say God, and some say the Almighty. So we call on you by whatever name that each of us have for you to, first of all, just thank you that today we're able to carry out this event. We know from the history that has been shared that if our enemies had their way, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here to have the life that we still have, or to pass on to our children and those after us the blessings that we've been able to pass on to them. So we thank you. And we thank you as you keep on giving us wisdom and guidance as we struggle for our self-determination. Like the last speaker said, we're not trying to bother anyone. We just want to be left alone. That's the part of people chasing us out of their communities and then coming to our communities to destroy our lives. So we thank you as you give us wisdom to continue to engage in this struggle and to engage not just with determination, but with results. And we thank you for the young people and the not so young who continue to put their lives on the line and take great risks to ensure that we realize the self-determination that we've been struggling for so many years. We believe that it will eventually come to fruition. And moving forward, we also give you honor and praise as you give us the wisdom to continue to organize such events and to find ways to ensure that these events become more and more productive. And for everybody that has been here, the organizers, the participants, the audience, we pray and we believe that you'll continue to sustain us and give us guidance, blessings for us, for our loved ones, and for our families. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen and amen.
Everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, bro.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you. May our days be long.
Everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for God.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Very much.
Wonderful welcome. First, I'd like to send my greetings to all the people of Nigeria. I've been treated with unexcelled hospitality and generosity. So I want to express those sentiments to feel welcomed from the United States. Before I arrived in Abuja, I spent some time in Geneva, where there's a working group on arbitrary detention. It's a 5-member group that's a unit of the United Nations Human Rights Council, and it entertains applications on behalf of persons who have been arbitrarily detained under international law. I submitted an urgent action application on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu, identifying all of the elements of arbitrariness in his current detention, including, for example, his denial of access to counsel, which is triggered the moment he is detained. And so you've all heard from Ejiofor that he was denied counsel even when he was first brought into court. But that's not the only denial of detention rights. It seems quite clear, based upon the history of his detention and the struggle for Biafrans through peaceful means to secure a separate sovereignty, that he was singled out because of his ethnicity, his membership in the Biafran community, which is a discrimination prohibited specifically under international law and indeed also under the Nigerian Constitution. If you read the counts in the complaint, now 7, they come at the 11th hour, which is quite irregular. Ordinarily you accuse someone before a few days before a trial. They consist of activities that are commonplace for all sorts of Nigerians. And why is Nnamdi Kanu the only one charged with such extravagant crimes as treason, levying war against Nigeria? But in addition to those violations of international law, the fact that he was kidnapped, he was tortured, he was extraordinarily renditioned to Nigeria without any due process of law is also illustrative of the arbitrariness of his detention. And you can think of the irregularity by contemplating the following. At the time that he was delivered from Kenya to Nigeria, he had not even been charged with 4 of the 7 counts that are now laid against him, that were not advanced and articulated until last week. He couldn't possibly have been extradited even before legal means. Under the urgent action process in the working group, the Nigerian foreign minister was immediately notified of the allegations in our complaint. In an ordinary case, there's 60-day response time, but because there's a jeopardy to Nnamdi Kanu's health, including the lack of access to professional medical care, it's on a fast track. If the foreign minister responds, and at present he is not, then I will be permitted an opportunity to answer. But the working group is endowed with authority to make final definitive pronouncements on international law. And the Nigerian government is a signatory to the critical documents, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which bind the government of Nigeria to adherence. And a pronouncement by the working group of arbitrary detention would be a critical weakness in the movement for even a trial for someone who has been illegally captured and delivered. It is a fundamental principle, a universal principle of law, domestic and international, that the government should not be able to profit from its own wrongdoing or criminality. And if you permit governments to kidnap and torture and then try persons illegally, you're then emboldening governments to serve as kind of vigilante justice, running around all the world, capturing any of their dissidents with no due process and bringing them back to trial. After I completed my work in Geneva, then I traveled to Athens. I am working with the foreign ministries of Greece and Israel. I didn't get to Israel because of some glitch in COVID-19, but I hope to travel there after this Abuja visit terminates, to sue the government of Nigeria in the International Court of Justice that sits in The Hague. The International Court of Justice is not like the International Criminal Court. The International Court of Justice only entertains suits between nations. Most recently, in a case very similar to the one concerning Nigeria, the Gambia sued Myanmar in the International Court of Justice for genocide against the Rohingya, and they won early court battles. So the nations bringing suit don't necessarily have to be the ones suffering from the wrongdoing. And the International Court of Justice has a history of trying genocide cases, stemming back to the wars that erupted after Yugoslavia disintegrated, Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia, Herzegovina. There are 9-year terms for 15 members of the High Court that sits in the International Court of Justice, but we think this is important to have a platform that exposes the daily horrors and atrocities that are inflicted on peaceful civilians in the Southeast. I want to underscore that this issue of the upheavals and strife in Nigeria are not intended to point one group against another. The idea is to make everybody better off. There's not enmity, there shouldn't be enmity between the Fulani, the Biafrans, the Yoruba. We can work towards a process where everybody in the long run benefits. And I think one of the models that can be utilized in terms of peaceful way in which to reorganize the Nigerian dispensation that benefits all is Czechoslovakia. After the Cold War ended, they had the Czechs and Slovaks were all under one umbrella, Czechoslovakia. But they decided they simply had different histories, different ethoses, and they needed to separate peacefully, which they did, separated the assets and the liabilities and whatever. So there's no reason why there has to be violence, even if there is a change in the structure of Nigeria. And I want to conclude by welcoming everyone who's in attendance here, and this the wonderful legal team that Nnamdi Kanu has put together. I'm proud to be a part of.
Get it online on your mobile. This is IPOB Community Radio, Radio Biafra, the first and the last.
I serve the indigenous people of Biafra in the Directorate of State as the head of directorate. Wonderful Biafrans, I have to go straight to the issues that I have to give across tonight. But let me begin by giving a warm commendation to all of you, great and indefatigable, indomitable Biafrans worldwide. I want to commend with great joy in my heart the Biafrans who are in the war front in Biafra land, because that is what I describe our land as being like. All the difficulties that they pass through, all the harassment, all the torture, mental and physical, all the killings. There is no war front that can be more than what our people are going through in Biafra land. Therefore, I want to commend your tenacity. I want to commend your loyalty to the leader of this great movement, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, your tenacity to the cause of the Biafran people. I want to commend you especially for your total observance and total obedience to the order of sit at home, which the leadership of the indigenous people of Biafra put in place on the 21st of October, being yesterday, for us all to show our solidarity and support to our leader, who is being illegally and wickedly held by the authorities that, or the cabal that run the zoo called Nigeria. My commendation, of course, goes to our legal team, who are doing a very sterling work, functions and their duties. I commend very much our elder, Dr. Chukwuemeka Ezife Opadike of Ibuku. I commend him because this is the second time he had been in the court for the case of our leader. The first time he was allowed, fortunately, inside the court, but our leader did not, they did not bring our leader to court. And this yesterday, he was also in court, very faithfully. But this time around, many of you have seen how that elder, how that respectable elder from our land was humiliated, how he was treated as nobody, how Okwadike, a former governor in our land, was not allowed inside the court, but was only given a chair outside to sit. And somebody's put it very, very succinctly yesterday, asking, can these Janjaweed soldiers and policemen, the treatment they meted out on Okwadike yesterday, Dr. Ezibe, can they do that to their so-called Sultan of Sokoto? Of course not. Why he asked that question is for all of us to use our common sense and understand that the zoo is nothing for us. I commend the elder that was also sitting with him. My apologies, I have tried to get his name, but I didn't have his name here as well, because they have they have really shown that this is about their son, and they must give all the support that is needed and that is required. I want to also commend Professor Ejiofor of the World Igbo Congress for his words of encouragement and words of hope to Biafrans yesterday when he appeared on this hallowed platform of Radio Biafra. My dear people, great Biafrans, I am sure that many of you, like myself, after seeing our leader yesterday, in fact, what we say here, we tanked back our energy, and now we have put on the hat and the shoe for this battle to go on as the shoe go on. One other thing that I need to bring to the attention of all Biafrans is that the fraudster in Ikon's house has continued to destroy the homes and livelihoods of our people in Imo State. Yesterday it was Izombe, and today it was also Ihituba. And when I say yesterday, I didn't mean yesterday like it happened yesterday, but figuratively. First of all, it was Izombe. They went there, they killed, they massacred, and they destroyed people's homes and people's means of livelihood. And the people who are elders in Biafra land, they saw nothing, they heard nothing, and they became dumb because they could not speak. And this imbecile, this fraudster, he took it as a word, as an acquiescence of the elders in Biafra land for him to continue his crime against the Biafran people. And he again sent in the Janjaweed army and soldiers in Osu-Hitupa. They maimed, they killed, and they destroyed. This man called Hopeless Uzodimma has been religiously turning our mothers and our fathers into homeless people. This man has been religiously making children motherless and fatherless. He has been working in accordance with the template that was given to him by the Hausa Fulani Caliphate. And I want to say on this holy platform, I want to say it now, that as Hopeless Uzodimma has made women beg your pardon. Excuse me. I need to take a water, please. I want to say it this very night, that as hopeless Uzodinma has made women and men childless, so will his mother be childless. As he has made children fatherless and motherless, so will his children be fatherless and also be motherless. As he has made people homeless, there shall not fail one in his family who will not be homeless, because I call upon the land of Biafra that he has desecrated, and the blood of all those he has wasted on a daily basis. On a daily basis, this man is spilling the blood of innocent, and I call on the blood of innocent to do their battle against this very fraudster in our midst. While Uzodinma is doing the part assigned to him, there are those who were assigned to do the other part, to destroy the four pillars of this great movement that Onyendu has put in place. They are now exposing themselves by the nonsense that they vomit. I want to let our people to pay attention to some of these things that these people talk about. Don't just listen if their nonsense comes your way. Don't just listen and then think deeply. Pay attention to what comes out from them, because they are using their own mouth to tell us. They tell us the goal and the agenda and the work that they have been given to do. And I want to tell you, like I did tell people before, their own part is focused upon to make sure while Uzodinma is spilling the blood of our people in conjunction with the one that calls himself David Umahi in Ebonyi State, while these individuals are murdering, while they are causing sorrow and sadness to families in Biafra land. These other part that were assigned the duty to do what? What they were assigned was to make sure that they focus on IPOB leadership. They focus on IPOB leadership, that is the Directorate of State. Their eyes are focused on the ESN. Their eyes are focused on our radio platform, the hallowed Radio Biafra London. And of course, their goal is to emancipate this movement financially. That is why I said when they speak, when you ever had a time to listen very carefully, because they are using their own mouth to tell you the agenda, to tell you what they have been sent to do. But many of us will simply listen and they will not pay very much attention. In fact, I wish to ask the European rep, Mazi Osnabayim, there was a response he gave to the deputy head of directorate of this very movement, Mazi Chukwemeka, in one of our platforms. In that response, Mazi Abanim very rightly, he enunciated the goal of these people who have been sent to weaken the leadership, to destroy the leadership, to destroy the arm of the strength of this movement, the ESN, to take over our radio and then to emasculate us financially. This, as I said earlier, these are the four pillars of this movement, but I can promise them they are late in their given task, because the train has already left the station. Mazabain, please, that your response in our forum to Mazin Zurumike, make it public so that people can begin to see, they will read and understand where these people are coming from, and what their agenda, what their goal, what their focus is in terms of making sure that they want to destroy this movement and to derail our march to freedom. And I promise them they have not been born. None born of woman has the mettle to do what they think they have been sent to do. They cannot destroy this movement. They cannot derail our focus. They cannot derail our march to freedom. And they have nothing. Even if they think that they will discourage people from supporting the ESN, they have forgotten that the ways of Chukwu Abiyama is not the ways of men. And I promise them from the 23rd of August up to this moment, they have withheld the funds of ESN. Are we not taking care of our men? Of course, we are taking care of them, and we will continue to take care of them, and we will continue to make them, prepare them for the battle ahead, because my great people of Biafra, the battle is ahead of us. We must show our enemies what IPOB is made of, that they have not the mettle, they do not have what it takes to destroy or bring down this movement led by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And having said that, starting from next week, our continental reps should send to me the date for their ESN fundraising, so that this requisite authorization or the requisite authorization from my office will be appropriately given to them, and the date which they have chosen as the date for their fundraising, continental rep, because we are going to do, first of all, we are going to embark on continent-wide fundraising for ESN. Each of the continents we have, each of the continental representatives we have, begin the plan after tonight to organize a fundraising in your continent for the ESN, for our ESN, of course, and make that date available so that we will not have clash of dates in this very, very project. Great people of Biafra, I need all of you to pay very, very good attention. Very, very good attention to what I'm going to say to you now. You know, these people, they think that they can try our leader, they can conduct a secret trial of our leader. That is not possible, and that cannot happen. They tried it before. They wanted to try him in secret because they had nothing against him. But as usual, they want to bring people that can cover their faces and come and postulate lies and half-truths in order for them to say that Onyendu has committed any crime against the zoo contraption. But they failed at that first time. And at this second time again, I promise you that they will fail. Now, they brought our leader to court yesterday. And as I always tell our people, you must be aware that the Fulani are working very, very religiously for the agenda that they have. And that agenda is nothing but to subsume every ethnic nationality, every indigenous nation in that contraption called the Zoological Republic of Nigeria, to subsume them, to oppress them, and to take over whatever belongs to you. And not only that, they want to take over whatever belongs to you, they want to dehumanize you, that you will begin to think that you're not even worthy to live, and you will be even happy for you to have them, ruling over you. Now, yesterday, after all the theater that they did, and finally brought Onyendu to court. Today, like we expected, like the Fulani are want to do, today the what is he called? The quota attorney general called Malami or whatever that is his name is, came out with some nonsense press statement, that I will plead and ask for your indulgence to allow me to read a little bit part of it. Now, after the usual greetings, he said, as you are aware, Nnamdi Kanu, the self-acclaimed, I'm reading from what this man wrote. The self-acclaimed leader of the indigenous people of Biafra has been at the center of a subversive campaign against the Nigerian state. Consequently, Nnamdi Kanu was arrested on the 14th of October 2015. He was charged to court for treasonable felony among other crimes. He was granted bail by the Federal High Court, Abuja, on the 25th of April 2017. He, however, breached the bail conditions and fled abroad. That is Malami telling you. He has lost the memory of what happened to Onyendu. These people are liars. They are all evil people. I don't even know if there is anything worse than evil that one can use to describe them. He cannot mention that they sent their battalion of soldiers with helicopters and fighter jets to a man who has no weapon, a man who was only speaking with his mouth, exercising his right of expression and right of the freedom of speech, a man that had not hurt a fly. They went to his home, jets, helicopter gunships, tanks, armored vehicles, and many battalions of soldiers for one man to kill him, because they know that there is only one obstacle for them not to realize their agenda, and that obstacle is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, and this great movement that he has put in place and that he is leading. They know that man is the only person standing in their way of achieving their goal. So what did they do? As they always think, because for them, just kill whatever is standing on your way, and then you have solved the problem. That is their mentality, the zoo mentality. Kill it, just kill the man, and then they were thinking, just kill him, and then maybe hopefully for them, 1 month or 2 weeks or whatever, there will be uproar, and then everywhere will calm down. They will now pump in the money that Gowon advised them that if he knew that the people love money that much, he wouldn't have even gone to war. He would just use money and give to us or give to our people to use and fight themselves. That is now what they're doing. They are spreading the money that is coming, that is made from the resources in your land. They are spreading it. They are giving chicken part of it, the crumbs of it, to some of these idiots in the diaspora to think that they have the metal to even come close to derailing this great movement. But I will not digress that much. Now, this man forgot that they sent their army to go and kill our leader. And Chukwu Abiyama being Chukwu Abiyama, because nobody is above him, he saved our leader and made sure, because Onyendu has not accomplished the job, the work that heaven sent to him. Chukwu Abiyama, of course, made sure that he was not part of those that fell on that day. 28 young men and women, very young Biafrans, 28 or even more, lost their lives. This idiot did not remember it. He did not add that to his useless press conference. But I'll go on. And now, why in exile? I'm reading what he wrote. Why in exile? Nnamdi Kanu intensified his subversive campaign using online Radio Biafra to instigate violence and incite members of IPOB to commit violent attacks against civil and democratic institutions, particularly the security personnel, independent National Electoral Commission, and civilians. He instigated the destruction of public and private properties across the country. That is Malami now talking here. Malami has forgotten Aba High School. Malami has forgotten Iguacha. Malami has forgotten Mpo Onitsha. Malami has forgotten all the areas where they have consistently mowed down young men and women whose only crime was that they came out with a flag, nothing but a flag, not even a stick, not a stone, a flag, expressing their, God-given freedom of speech and freedom of association. His man has conveniently forgotten all this, and he is now in turn telling us that we are now the aggressors and they are the victims. I'll continue. As a result of these criminal activities, IPOB was proscribed and designated a terrorist organization by a federal high court sitting in Abuja. Can you hear that? As a result of our flying our flags and protesting peacefully, even though we were being killed, we wrote and complained and cried, we buried our dead. Nothing happened. Nobody had us. Nobody listened. Nobody paid attention. They went ahead and called us terrorists, and they used their Janjaweed court to stamp that name they gave to us. But of course, the international community knows that these people are no terrorists, and they ignored that nonsense from their court. But bear in mind, since 2017, even though that our lawyers had filed a case in court challenging that ex parte order. Listen again. That order from the court designating IPOB as a terrorist organization was an ex parte order. Ex parte order, for those who understand law, is an order given by the judge in chambers. There is no representation. They went to their Fulani judges and then asked them, give us this thing we are looking for. Of course, they gave them what they are looking for. But then when our lawyers called them to challenge them in an open court, 2017 counting, up till this moment I'm speaking to you, they have been running away from their court to come and defend that nonsense terrorist name or tag that they gave the Biafran people fighting for their freedom. Now, I read more. He said, despite the proscription of IPOB by the federal government, Nnamdi Kanu continued the subversive campaign, instigating and inciting broadcasts to direct members of the IPOB to launch attacks on government. The NSAS protests of October 2020 played into the sinister plans of Nnamdi Kanu. This is Malami writing, whereby he seized the protest through subversive, that is the only English word you know, nonsense man, through subversive and inciting online broadcasts, and actively commanded and directed attacks on security personnel and facilities. These people are worse than evil. They did not remember that they mowed down and massacred people who were freely and peacefully protesting at the Lekki in Lagos. People just gathered, even with their useless green, white, green flag. Those who they did not have Biafran flag. These people, NSAS protesters, they were not Biafrans. Now he wants to say that IPOB is the people who took it over by within Nnamdi Kanu, took it over and then hijacked it. That is his reason. But you can imagine these young men have suffered at the hands of the security apparatus of the zoo. And one day they said enough is enough. That did not stop these murderers from going there where they were peacefully gathering and protesting to mow them down and kill many people there. Up to today, have you heard anything about their investigation, their inquiry? Nothing. They extended it to Obibo. In Obibo, the one that they called, what's his name? Nwike, became their houseboy there. And he allowed them to decimate and kill and murder very many young Biafran men and women. Their time and day of recompense is coming. Chukwuabema shall bear us witness. I read further. As a result of this broadcast, members of IPOB attacked and killed security personnel and burned down police stations and on and on and on. And then he goes on. He says, on the 12th December 2020, Eastern Security Network was formed by Nnamdi Kanu as an armed wing of IPOB with the mandate to advance the nefarious agenda of the outlaws group. ESN continued to launch attacks on security personnel, civilians perceived as enemies, as well as destruction of private and public properties. Now, he was not satisfied labeling the non-violent IPOB family members as being the aggressors. Now he was now saying that the ESN that Oyendo formed specifically to ensure that our forests are safe for our mothers, for our fathers, for our women, our daughters and sisters to go and farm. The ESN that our leader put in place to ensure that we are not starved to death, because that was the agenda. They come to our farms. Can we imagine such wickedness? Somebody will carry their farm, their animal, all the way from the north. They will not destroy the farms because they're not their farmers as well. They will not go to the northern part of the zoo to use the farm produce being cultivated north to feed the animal. No, they will not do that. They deliberately, they purposely, they consciously brought their animals down to the south for the single objective of destroying farm produce that are still not ready to be harvested, and then we will be in what we call we will have food shortages, and they will use that as well to blackmail us, as they did when they said that there will be no more food to be shipped from the north to the south. So Onyendu put this ESN in place to ensure that we do not fall into that danger of the plan of the enemy of the Fulani Caliphate. Now they are saying, because this ESN did marvelously well, because they made our farmland safe, they are so bitter. Now they want to say that ESN was formed for what? To attack their useless government personnel. Who has time for you? For their government personnel. We have our objective, and ESN also have the objective that they were the reason why they were set up. Now, the destructive, listen again, and that is very important that we pay attention here. The destructive activities of IPOB-ESN pose serious threat to Nigerian national security. The bandits, the Boko Haram, the ISWAP, these peoples and the Fulani herdsmen, their activities Of course, it is. They are doing moonlight play. Their activities never, became any threat to their so-called Nigerian national security. No, it is non-armed IPOB family members, non-violent indigenous people of Biafra, and the very ESN that was set up to even checkmate these their terrorist herdsmen that now he has found his voice to describe them as being or as posing a serious threat to their national security. And he goes on and he says that this posing of ESN and IPOB as a threat to their national security and the corporate existence of the zoo resulted into the rearrest of Nnamdi Kanu and members of his group. Pay attention. He said the rearrest. I said these people are liars. And when we tell you that the zoo is a den of, in fact, the demon himself habits in the zoo. That is why their minister of communication is called Elijah Muhammad. He's a liar because he can be the chief liar, and that's why they made him a minister for communication. Now he said that they rearrest our leader. Where did you rearrest him? He did not.